And nice to meet you, Bones of Doom.
Likewise. There we go. That's what I needed.
We are gathered here today to figure out whether evolution is true or false. What's the premise of this?
I'm more than happy to start with the idea that evolution is unfalsifiable.
Testing. Okay, can you guys hear me? My mic goes out. I think it doesn't.
Loud and clear.
It doesn't mic. It will drop it sometimes where it says it doesn't recognize it.
I have to
So
turn you
if I
down
go out,
ever so slightly. So let me get these
All
levels.
right.
okay. Yeah, let me know when we're ready to go, and then I guess Bones, you can go ahead and open.
Well, we are live. So
Oh,
what is the prompt, Joe? What is the prompt, Joe?
It's a defense. Bones is going to defend evolution.
Okay.
Basically. So it's basically
you are the
whether or not
Bones is the affirmative. You are the negative.
Yeah, perfect.
Could we just lay down some ground rules before we begin, Leith, if it's okay with you, since you're the
By all
moderator?
means. What do we have in mind?
I was thinking, we just try our best not to cut each other off while talking. And one thing that I notice happens a lot in conversations is that I'll ask like a yes or no question, and then they'll answer yes, but then they'll go into like a monologue after, like why their question is yes. But the thing is, I just want to get to the yes or no first, and then you could extrapolate after. But when I try to cut them off after it's supposed to only be yes or no, but they start monologuing. If I cut them off, they say I'm the one being rude or cutting in or
caveating.
Yeah.
So are we saying there are no caveats to the conversation?
What do you mean by caveats?
I'm saying that.
So if it's a yes, but then it's not going to just be yes flat out. There's going to be some justification as to why it's a yes or a no.
Well, or some kind of cashing in the scope of the conversation.
Well, naturally, I'm not going to just take the yes and then assume there's no explanation behind the yes or no question, right? Like in good faith, I'm going to say, okay, your answer is yes. Why do you think it's yes? Or I'm going to ask a follow-up question. So sometimes I'm going to go down a line of questioning where it's going to be like a series of yes, no's, right? And if you start extrapolating, especially if it's things that I've heard before, because I've done this debate a few times already, then you don't need to over explain, because I know evolution pretty well.
Okay, do you agree to these terms, Bones?
Sure. We'll go for it.
Sure. All right.
Bones, like mine, if you ask me a question and I start answering in a different direction that isn't like I didn't hear exactly what you were asking, I start answering the wrong question, feel free to interrupt me also and start over to make sure I understand your question, just to be good faith, Okay, sounds good. All right. Bones, since you're new, you go ahead, man.
All right, so I'm going to keep this nice, short, and pithy. So my debate opponent's going to have to figure out how to, one, defend the idea that evolution is unfalsifiable. I have the burden of proving that evolution is in fact true. So like all scientific theories, they're basically cached in the idea that there's some hypothesis, and that given that hypothesis is true, it is able to explain certain things that occur in reality. And with evolution, it seems that that descent with genetic modification is true. We see organisms all throughout history slowly morphologically changing into what happens today. We see through the use of looking into endogenous retroviruses that we humans share common ancestors with organisms like chimpanzees and gorillas, et cetera, et cetera. We also see that we can also see whales kind of transitioning from being prior to the whales that we know today being land-dwelling mammals to the ocean-dwelling mammals that they are today as well. And finally, with the result of us seeing, I believe, viruses or whatnot being immune to antibiotics, that is also a form of evolution occurring in day-to-day life. We can find that in labs as well. And honestly, it is up to my debate opponent to one, find the following issues with evolution. One, they need to find any instance where any hierarchical structures related to taxonomy are completely out of line. In particular, let's say we find like humans are actually somehow more in line with, say, like a fish over some other animal. Or another way that we could figure out that is whether all animals share like some equal percentage of DNA with each other. And pretty much that would just completely disprove evolution right there. And we would maybe have a common creator. I would even say that that would be evidence for some other hypothesis. And then finally, I can also talk about how evolution satisfies the core criteria. Through observation, we can look at fossil record, comparative anatomy, genetics, biogeography. We can form hypotheses by predicting through common ancestry that we'd find certain animals fitting within the timeline in between now and then. Genetic drift, natural selection all fall into that as well. We can predict that through the finding of certain fossils or certain organisms or through genetics that we are related to certain other animals. We can test this by them finding said fossils or taking genetics or genomic sequences of animals and comparing them to other animals that we deem to be alike. And we can replicate this by having other labs do this as well. So I believe that satisfies all of the core criteria for a scientific theory and how it is able to kind of be in line with scientific processes, scientific method.
Hearing there's audio issues. One moment.
Is it on my end?
No,
What's
it's
the
on
issue?
my end. I'm hearing.
Oh,
So let me check the Twitch.
were they able to hear Bones' opening statement?
Okay, now they can hear you. I don't know what happened, but okay.
Oh, were they not able to hear him before?
That's what they're saying.
Oh, okay.
Yikes. You could go over
Am I-
again.
Okay,
am I
it was,
good
just, it
now?
was just part of. I guess it was part of the packet loss. So audio's
Gotcha.
good. Okay, audio's good.
All right.
Cool.
I can give the Sparks notes. Basically, evolution is absolutely falsifiable. We can falsify it by finding that certain animals are actually not in line genetically with what we believe them to be. For example, humans are not great apes, and they're like some type of fish. That would be one form of falsifying evolution. Another way of falsifying evolution would be all animals and organisms sharing some like equal percentage of relation to one another, showing a common designer potentially. I'm willing to grant that. It is up to Kung Fu Joe to first like concede that evolution is in fact falsifiable before this conversation starts, because otherwise we'd just be getting into nothing burgers effectively. And then as to the evidence of evolution specifically, we can go through like whales, for example, how they went from being land-dwelling mammals to ocean-dwelling mammals as we see today. Humans being descendants of great apes and being closely related to, say, a chimpanzee and gorilla, those two being some of our closest cousins. We can find that evolution is in line with the scientific method. Through observation, we look at fossils, fossil record, comparative anatomy. We see animals are kind of looking in line with each other. Let's form a hypothesis. Maybe they share a common ancestor. And then we can predict through transitional fossils or genetic similarities by doing genomic sequences or discovering fossils out in the wild that we can find that there's an actual timeline between animal A and animal B. And this can be replicated by sending samples to independent labs. One more thing. One way evolution can be falsified. Another one could just be, let's say, Precambrian rabbit being one. If we find a rabbit that somehow existed in the Precambrian era, and we're able to verify that, then that would show that nested hierarchical patterns or common ancestry is false, which is one of the core tenets of evolution, is that we all share some common ancestor prior to us and that we all exist within nested hierarchies. And yeah, if we go into, say, like radiometric dating methods, we can go into the reliability of those too. So, yeah.
All right. And Kung Fu Joe, your opening statement.
Okay, I mean, well, I'm a little disappointed because I thought I would hear some kind of new challenge to my position tonight, but since we're not, I guess let's go with this. So basically, in my view, which is the Orthodox Christian view of creation according to their kinds, where God directly forms distinct stable categories of creatures, each with inherent
Oh yeah,
potential for
this is
rich
oh shit. Hold
variation
on.
and
Okay, we're good.
adaptation within fixed boundaries, without one kind transforming into another. Now, given that I've done this debate a few times, I've decided to just go over some of maybe like the top five most common um, arguments that they're going to levy at my position that are very fallacious. And so I'm going to list them all in order that I kind of compiled from like 1 through 5. So basically, what you'll hear tonight, one of the things you'll probably hear tonight is, which you probably heard in his opening, was the proponent will cite high DNA overlap, 98% between humans and chimps, as strong evidence of shared descent and evolutionary transformation. Um, this, this unfortunately is a fallacy. Um, this is like begging the question. It assumes similarities arises from descent with modification without proving the mechanism. So just saying that a thing
Ah,
happens doesn't explain the mechanism of how it got there. Um, Number two, the proponent will claim small scale changes, e.g., antibiotic resistance, finch beaks, dog breeding, scale up to explain large scale transformations. This is a composition fallacy. It assumes what is true of the small parts, changes, micro, must be true of the whole, macro transformations. Next down the list at number three, we got the proponent will point to examples like Tiktaalik or Archaeopteryx as evidence of gradual change. This is this is a cherry picking fallacy or a hasty generalization. Selects a few mosaics while ignoring the vast gaps and lack of continuous sequences predicted by gradualism. Down to the fourth one is the proponent will appeal to immense timescales and population sizes to argue improbable events become inevitable.
oh, okay.
This is
Here we go.
begging the
This is gonna be
question
easy.
again. Presumes mutations are sufficient and
All
cumulative without evidence for the
right.
required coordinated information adding changes. And at last but not least, at number five, the proponent will argue probably multiple independent lines converge on common descent, so the mechanism is inferred reliably. This is a confirmation bias, selects evidence that fits the conclusion while downplaying the anomalies. So, with that, I guess he has to defend against my opening statement now, and I can't wait to hear it.
All right. Bones,
All
take the
right.
crossfire.
What's your familiarity with radiometric dating? We'll go with that first.
Um, just like not a high level.
Okay, perfect. So I can kind of simplify it. Basically, there are isotopes for elements that over time will decay, and there's a predictable half life, meaning the time at which 50% of the parent material decays into some daughter material, and it's basically kind of shown in an equation that n at some time t is equal to n naught, which is just the amount of parent material that exists. Then e, which is just the natural log. No, not the natural log. It's basically the inverse of the natural log. Can't remember the name. Negative lambda t. Lambda being some value for the decay rate of the material times t, the amount of time. And so we have, I can go off of uranium lead dating. So specifically uranium 238 to 206, it has a half life of about, I believe it's 4.5 billion years.
You don't have to explain this part. You can just get to why it's
Yeah, yeah.
relevant.
I'm kind of building it up for you. That way you kind of have some understanding. to give you the absolute best chance of responding. But I believe uranium-238 decays into lead-206, has a half-life of about 4.5 billion years, and we use that to date igneous rocks because zircon crystals will form with uranium. It will decay into lead. And
There's a
given that
problem with this already.
what's the problem?
Is that when you have an event like a volcano, that automatically resets the counter back to 0.
Okay, perfect. So do you understand that the range of uranium lead it's about on a short end 1 million years to 4.5 billion years. This would be the same thing as kind of measuring like the width of a hair with a ruler. It's not a reliable tool to, just like a ruler is not a reliable tool to measure a piece of hair. Uranium lead dating isn't going to measure something that just formed. We have better ways of going about it. Say with like St. Helens, that mountain, we can just have like photographic evidence of those rocks forming, or some video evidence of those rocks forming, and we can just say it formed probably right around then, and go from there. But we wouldn't use like uranium lead dating to date a rock that formed yesterday. It's just an improper measuring tool.
Yeah, but any like lava that comes up, that rock is going to be dated at like millions or billions of years old.
The zircon crystals would only be dated at a minimum of around 1 million years, and like I said, I already told you, it's like measuring measuring the width of hair with a ruler. So it's just an improper measuring tool. What'd you do? Would you measure hair with a ruler? Would you measure the width of hair with a ruler?
I think this is irrelevant because there are all kinds
I want
of
an answer right
problems.
here. Yes or no?
No,
Would you measure?
no, you wouldn't. No.
Okay, so you understand that there are improper measurement tools for certain tasks, right?
Okay.
Just like I wouldn't measure like I wouldn't use like a ruler to measure, say, like the distance between the bottom of Mount Everest to the top. Like it would be pretty impractical.
Okay.
So yeah, that critique of the measuring tools isn't just gonna follow.
Well, how does the measuring help your argument? I guess is what I'm getting at.
Because we can use radiometric dating to date certain fossils going far back enough, and to kind of closer timelines. We can use like carbon dating to verify like dendrochronology or the study of tree rings with other fossils with other archaeological evidence as well. If we go there too.
And how does this support evolution?
So first, I'm just establishing the long timeline that it is possible. You'd have to give me a rebuttal against at radiometric dating to say that long timelines is not possible.
I just don't understand how the dating helps your theory of evolution.
Well, you said earlier that a long timeline like just isn't possible, right?
I didn't say that.
Okay, what did you say regarding a timeline then, so that way I can better
I don't remember saying any. No, it's part of your worldview that it takes billions of years for evolution to happen.
So do you believe that the Earth is billions of years old?
It doesn't matter what I believe.
No,
you're the one
no.
defending
I want
evolution.
you. I want to go off of that comment idea. Do you believe that the Earth is billions of years old? Because I believe it is relevant.
You could.
You're agnostic.
You can convince. Yeah, you could convince me whether or not it is.
So would you consider radiometric dating to be something that is like useful?
Probably. I don't know. What I want to know is how it's useful in proving your case for evolution to be true.
Oh, because I'm just saying that it is the case that the Earth is billions of years old, so we do have a long timeline to work with evolution.
If you say so.
Okay, perfect. Great. That's all I need for that. And then the second idea, you said that it was a composition fallacy to say that small changes over time build up into a large change.
Do you want to address each one?
I want you to just say yes or no here. You're saying that it is the composition fallacy to say that just because there is a small change occurring in one instance and that we can chain those together, that we can show a big change over time. Is that the fallacy?
Yeah, saying a fly changes something about it, but it's still a fly, therefore in the past it wasn't a fly. That's the fallacy.
You sure that's what a composition fallacy is? So what I just
No,
described was a hypothetical syllogism. So something going from A to B and not necessarily following, and then something from going from B to C necessarily following. It would just be the case that we can go from A to C from there. That's just hypothetical syllogism. So that's not fallacious at all.
it is a composition fallacy.
No.
Yeah.
So you're saying a hypothetical syllogism is a composition fallacy?
Well, you're ignoring the alternate explanations.
So no, it just necessarily follows. It's a valid inference rule.
No.
All right. So you're saying that hypothetical syllogisms are not valid inference rules? Are we going to get that on camera?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't disagree with my opening statement on what I believe a kind is under Christianity. So I'll read it again for you. According to the Orthodox Christian view of creation according to their kinds, where God directly forms distinct, stable categories of creatures, each with inherent potential for rich variation and adaptation within fixed boundaries, without one kind transforming into another. So to say that a fly, we could see a fly, a fruit fly or whatever, change some characteristic about it, but it's still a fly. Therefore, in the past, it wasn't a fly. You're
so that's just like a category error. I don't believe in kinds. I don't believe in the concept of kinds. Taxonomy doesn't take into account kinds. So
no.
Unfortunately, that's just not in the scope here.
You misunderstood my point.
And once again, you still haven't addressed the hypothetical syllogism not being a valid inference rule. Can we get that straight?
I gotta correct you.
Because that's another crucial error on your end of the evolution argument. Because I'm not saying that because A to B, there is A to C. I'm saying that A to B and B to C makes A to C, which is a valid inference rule.
Address the hypothetical syllogism.
Hold on. I just gave him I read my thing to him to prove that the genetic similarity is under my view also. So I want to tell, like, we have two competing hypotheses here, right? His is evolution, where natural selection and random mutation, it means that we share common ancestry. My position is that our genetic similarity are just the building blocks that God used to make everything, every kind and humans. So these things, just saying genetic similarity isn't enough, because I'm there also. There's just, my explanation is God and his is evolution. So how does he break? Where's the symmetry?
Okay, gotcha. I got this. So the symmetry breaker is that evolution can predict basically new basically paths between a previous organism and a current one. And I don't believe a creationist has a good way of establishing that without just invoking microevolution. Is what you put it.
I did. It's in my statement. I said, where God directly forms distinct, stable categories of creature with each with inherent potential for rich variation and adaptation within fixed boundaries. That's what I said. That's
Can you give me can you give me a hypothetical experiment for creationism?
What do you mean?
Yeah, can you provide me some experimental methodology that would verify creationism?
You can't verify God through science.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I'll take that concession then. I can provide. Yeah, absolutely. Because I can do the same for. I can do evolution. I can do it.
Error.
No, I can do that for evolution now. You want to hear?
Oh, you can make a divine.
I can make an experiment using evolution.
A different God created evolution.
Oh no, I don't need God for this. I just need evolution to be true here. Yeah, I just need to.
Oh.
So let's take this.
Go ahead.
So let's go with modern whales. So modern whales, they have kind of vestigial structures that indicated that they might have had legs at some point, and from that, we can see, combined with the fact that they kind of behave a little bit differently from fish, that hey, this is kind of weird. They use milk to feed their babies. Fish don't really do this. Why is that? And so the hypothesis is that whales evolved from living land animals at the time, like millions of years ago. And the way to verify this is that we would see, like, in some sort of timeline here, that we go from a land dwelling animal that kind of maybe lived near the ocean and see that it lost its legs over time and became more of an ocean dweller. So we have Amblicitus being the like previous, I think, direct predecessor of whales, and then before then, Pachycetus being the animal before it. The Pachycetus being a land-dwelling mammal that lived near the ocean, and then an Amblicitus that was effectively a walking whale in this case. And then we get to the whale, and seeing that we have I believe, fossil records of this, then it just follows there that the ancestor for whales happens to be like some land-dwelling animal.
Pachycetus are so awesome. Don't you wish you could own one, Leith? I see Pachycetus, I'm like, that thing is fucking cool. I want one, bro. Must be great at hunting shrimps. So I wrote this in my notes. This is going to be another like
Yeah. So how does that
fallacy.
not follow the scientific method?
Well, you haven't put it through the scientific method. I was about to ask you to do that
No,
next.
that
But
was the
basically,
scientific
what I
method.
heard from you, dude, I
That
just let you talk.
so
What?
one
This is
second. So
crazy.
1 second, I gave you an observation. I gave some sort of hypothesis. I could also talk about like the preceding research that would be needed, the background knowledge to maybe go into this. I gave you
Give me the hypothesis again.
so that the hypothesis is that whales evolved from land living mammals.
How did you know that? How did you guess that? Like, you look at a whale, and then what?
So
You observe a whale, and then
the observation would be that there are vestigial structures that existed in whales that indicated that they could have been from land dwelling mammals at some point, indicating
that
that
could have
some previous ancestor had some legs, basically.
Okay, and what's your proof that that assumption is true?
What assumption? What are you saying that I'm assuming here?
You're saying that we look at whales and they have something about their structure that arbitrarily leads me to believe that they might have come from a land
Oh,
dwelling animal.
it's not arbitrary. It seems that the structures they resemble hips, and that it's a high likelihood that it is the case that they were able to walk on land at some point.
Okay, so I don't think that. What is your
Yeah. Oh yeah,
what is your
there's
proof
other
that's going
structures
to
too.
what's so
So their
so
flippers,
what is
they have like little fingers inside of them too, which indicates that it also could have been a part of some sort of structure resembling something that is distinct from fish, but is a little less distinct from other mammals.
and that gets you to a Pachycetus.
Yes, because over time we see Pachycetus and then Amblicitus and then whale.
Okay.
Yeah, because it would be the
So
case that we would find organisms that look somewhat similar to a whale that lived millions of years prior to whales, and that they had similar structures to what whales have today, but something a little bit different to fit that environment. And then prior to that, they had different structures that fit that previous environment, which goes into my next point about evolution and mechanisms. So the mechanism being genetic modification through mutations, and then the selection bias would just be through the environment. Whichever organism is best fit for the environment has a higher likelihood of reproducing, and then those genes tend to reproduce.
but do you start with the assumption of common ancestry, or does that what you just said get us there?
So the hypothesis, going back to the whale example, is that whales came from land-living animals. So no, we wouldn't be just assuming that that's the case.
I'm still not seeing how we get there though. So
So
how about
you
this? How
don't
about
assume that the hypothesis is true. You assume that it's false, and then you try to, or rather, you
well,
try to
so
prove it false.
there's a there's a problem here.
And a failure to prove it false means that it isn't.
Well, hold on. How about we take it through the scientific method,
Yeah, sure. I already gave you
step by
the
step?
breakdown
So
here. Yeah.
what's the let's go. Let me just ask one by one. What's the observation?
So the observation is that whales look and behave weird compared to fish, They don't have
evolution overall. Not you don't have to be. You don't have
I
to
know.
mean
I just want to give like
specifically
a
whales
specific
or-
example. That way, we're kind of like nailing in on this because as it
Okay.
compares to because it just relates to evolution that way.
So you see a whale in nature, right?
Yeah, you see a whale in nature, you're like, huh, it's doesn't act like a fish. It has mammary glands. It feeds their babies milk. They have like kind of like
Mhm.
bone. You can see that they have bone structures
Mhm.
in their fins rather. They need air to breathe as opposed to getting the oxygen through gills. That's just weird.
Okay. So this doesn't like go against the Christian view yet. So I'm still waiting.
No, you just told me to use the scientific method, so we're at
Oh, I'm
step
sorry.
one.
Okay, I'm
Yeah,
sorry. My bad. So that's the observation is
yeah,
you
we're at the observation. Yes.
you observe whales to be different than fish,
Yep.
not quite sharks. They seem to be their own thing, right?
Yes, they seem to be pretty
Okay.
distinct.
Okay,
And
and then what?
the research, you kind of just go through it. You're like, huh, like there are all these sorts of
Research.
behaviors
Why?
that, yeah, well, yeah, you do kind of background knowledge to kind of ensure
Yeah.
that you are kind of establishing a like base of facts before you build upon that knowledge. You agree that that's part of the scientific method?
Well, don't you know you observe something and then you ask a question, right?
Yeah. So why do you? Okay, sure. I'll go with the question. So why do whales not look
Hmm.
like? Why do they not behave like? Why do they seem like they are distinct from fish?
Okay. And then what's the research like?
So
The
the research being so whales need air to breathe. Like I kind of went over this with the observations a little bit. They kind of go hand in hand sometimes. But feeding their babies milk, they
Yeah.
have different behavioral patterns. You could
Okay.
go even
And then
further and say that they have much larger brains than a typical fish and seems more complex. Like you can go through all that stuff.
the
Depending on what your scope
hypothesis.
of the research is. But the hypothesis being whales evolved from land dwelling mammals.
Oh, how did so? But it's
So
in the
do you
water.
understand
How
what a
did you get
hypothesis
there?
is?
Yeah.
Can you tell me what a
Okay.
hypothesis is?
You're. It's supposed to be your best educated guess for how the thing is in its current state.
So a hypothesis is a claim, correct?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So you don't
But
really
it's
have any.
supposed to
You
be
don't.
in the form of an explanation, isn't it?
I mean, it could just be like an if then statement. It's not like strict. It could just be as simple as a
Ooh,
claim.
I think you're already slipping here.
How
You do have to
how
provide an
so?
explanation. Well, that's your. How do you get?
Yeah, that's the
There's no.
explanation. They look and behave different from fish because they evolved from something that wasn't a fish.
Okay, so what experiment would you conduct to in order to prove that?
So let's go back to the hip bones and stuff. So if it's the case that whales evolved from land living animals, there would be structures that are existing in land animals that would over time kind of lose their function or change function such that it better suits an aquatic environment. And the experiment would be,
But
can we find organisms that fit that timeline?
well, hold on there. What if the whale was just created that way?
Yeah, what would be the indicators for it?
Well, hold on. That's you have to.
No, no, no.
That's the
What
onus is
would
on
be? I'm
you
asking you.
to prove that there's
Wait,
no
well,
other
you just
explanation.
made a claim. What if they came from something else? Like you're asking the question here. What are the indicators that whales would be like just spontaneously created? Can you give me your best guess?
No, I'm saying not. I didn't say spontaneously. I didn't say there would be an explanation. I'm saying that what if there's another explanation?
Yeah,
You're
then
taking that.
there would be some way to like differentiate it from say evolution. Do you have any criteria for it? Because I laid out some in my opening.
Yeah, supernatural.
Yeah, and how do we test this supernatural?
Supernatural is beyond the physical realm.
So
So
that's
the
so it's self defeating.
science wouldn't
Okay.
be able to test. No, it's not self
Yeah,
defeating.
no,
You
absolutely.
can't just
If it
prove
can't be tested, if it can't be tested naturally, and science is advanced through this concept of naturalism that everything kind of just occurs like not like out in nature effectively. Yeah, if there's some occurrence that's outside of the scope of nature, then we cannot observe it. We cannot fact check it. We cannot provide any conclusions from it. It's just self defeating.
It's
But
not, because
but luckily, I actually did give
you're using things you cannot prove to be real just to make that statement.
but luckily I did give criteria, by the way, that would potentially be evidence of a creator. We could say that let's say whales are about as equally related to fish as like some other animal, or that the animal that preceded whales is about as equally as related to fish as fish are to something else. That would be one way. Another way would just be whales are actually not descendant of land dwelling animals, and that they're actually descendant of, let's just say, fish, actually, for this example, that they somehow
Why
diverted
do they
from
need to
fish
be
despite
descendants
having.
of anything?
Well, that's just what evolution
That's
claims is
your
that there's,
worldview.
yeah,
Yeah, that's your claim. So you got to
yeah.
prove that.
Wait, hold on. This is where you don't understand here. If the whale is not under like the hierarchy of some like mammals, but of something else, then it seems like evolution made a false prediction here, right?
What do you mean?
So
There's no.
earlier my hypothesis was whales evolved from land living mammals. If it's not the case that they evolved from land living mammals, then yeah, that just falsifies evolution right there.
How would you prove that? How would you disprove that?
How would I disprove that?
How would you falsify that?
How would I falsify that? So let's say that
Yeah.
we find something that looks to be let's say in this case, if we're saying that whales are kind of closely resembling to fish as some way to falsify it, then we would see that going previous like years, we would see that the ancestors of whales are actually fish somehow, or that
But we all share common ancestry.
or that there are no other organisms that have like similar structures to whales, and that we can't find anything prior to that. That would also be another way that we would falsify that, because it seems like whales are kind of like the first thing that came out,
No,
which would be evidence of creation, by the way.
Prove just finding a similar structured creature doesn't prove that it came from that creature.
Oh yeah, on its own, it's probably like a little bit of evidence, but that's where we get into radiometric dating, because then we could verify that. Wait, hold on. You already granted. You already granted radiometric dating, by the way, and so through that, we could take a similar like rock formations from that time period, and we could verify the timeline that way. And you've already granted radiometric dating, so this just follows. It would just be
similarity
evidence.
Plus the age equals it evolved into that thing. How does
because evolution takes time. Evolution takes long amounts of time to occur when your gestation period is fairly large.
Time doesn't change anything.
Yes, it does. It's why we can.
It doesn't.
Yeah. So it's why we can get It's why we can get viruses that are resistant to antibiotics.
No, time doesn't change anything. When you take milk out of your fridge and you leave it on the counter, does time make it spoil?
Time is just like a change. It would just occur with like a change in state. So, like bacteria cultures can form over time and spoil the milk. Just like
milk, not the time.
Yeah, and time is just like a passage. It's just like a change in states,
it's not
basically.
causal.
Or it's how
anything.
It is how we understand some change in states, or temporal change in states, rather. But it seems to be the case that
I'm asking you to defend evolution. You're doing a very poor job of it. I'm asking.
I mean, you can say that, but so far you haven't really like contested with the whales, by the way. Okay, sure.
I'm asking you to explain to me how mechanistically does a Pakicetus go to a whale? Give me the mechanistic.
Also, sorry,
process.
Bacteria, not viruses. That got my terms mixed up. It's bacteria that are resistant to antibiotics. Yeah. So you said
give me
the claim
mechanistically give me the step-by-step process of mechanisms that take place that go from a Pakicetus going to a whale. Because what you're just saying so far is we find these bones and they look similar to this living thing here. Therefore, it came from this thing. I'm asking you,
I'm,
how
I'm
did
saying that
that
it's
change occur?
I'm saying that
Because
it's
the
evidence of
time,
evolution.
hold on, I'm almost landing the plane here. The time doesn't actually cause anything. So what I'm asking for is the cause. Just like with the milk example, it's the bacteria that makes the milk go spoiled. So I want you to tell me in evolution, what's the bacteria here that is the cause of the evolution? Go ahead.
So it's kind of a category to say that I believe that time is causing things. No, that's not the case. Time just refers to when I'm saying that over time something happens. I'm just saying that over some like number of temporal state changes, A goes to B, and
I
from this,
understand.
okay, cool. So going from there, we can go through like genetics per se. Um, there are mutations in the genetic code that occurs through each subsequent generation, and those eventually produce some type of change. That change can either be beneficial, neutral, or
How?
negative, depending on the environment. How?
How? How does it
So,
produce a
for
change?
for example, we can stick on whales for a second. Legs, like what we would have, they're not really all that useful for using they're not all that useful for propelling in water. But fins, which have a large surface area and can more effectively push the water better than
Let's
legs
start with
or
the
arms can.
Pachycetus, though. Start with the Pachycetus
Well,
and
yeah,
tilt
that's
this to
that's
a
what I'm
whale.
talking about right now. That's what I'm talking about right
Okay.
now. I'm giving
You
you the
said whale.
mechanism right now. But yeah. So, anyways, fins more effective at propulsion through water than legs. Legs are more effective at propulsion on land than fins are. So, Pachycetus, they have legs, but sometimes they're kind of going out into the water to get their food. And then over time, it seems to be the case that some members of the Pachycetus are developing more fin-like structures, and they're more
How?
effectively.
How?
I just told you. Can you repeat back to what I
It just
said about
happened?
yeah, mutations in
How
the
does the
genetic code.
mutation happen?
So, I mean, we could talk about like insertion, deletion, like there's all sorts of things that just effectively, like all we need to know is that mutation is just some change in the genetic code that occurs from generation to generation. Would you grant that?
You're just saying it. You're saying it
Yeah.
happens. I'm
Okay.
asking you how it happens.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like the same reason how like I kind of look different from you. You look different from what's her name? Lemmy Kai, something like that.
Lethal Water Kai.
Lethal
Yeah.
Water Kai.
No,
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I did not know his name prior to this. So, but yeah, lethal
No,
water
you
kite. It's
call him
like
Leaf.
we all
Leaf.
look different because to some degree genetic mutations occurred. Would you grant
I
that?
think I'm a completely. I think I'm a completely different species from Leaf. Just so we're clear.
Yeah. What's going to be the evidence for that? You
I'm
know,
fucking with you, Leaf.
let's derail this.
Okay. Anyway, no, I'm sorry. No, but you're just pointing out differences. I'm asking, okay, the mutations
Yeah,
occur.
mutations accumulate
Tell
over
me,
time.
take me through that. Take me through that mechanistically. One
Okay,
day
sure.
they're happy hunting shrimps. They've been doing it the same way for millions of years, but suddenly something happens because the environment whispers to the DNA of the creature and say, "Hey, man, things are about to change and get bad for you. You better,
That
do
would
something
be
about it." And the genetic code goes, "Suit up, lads. We gotta create some kind of adaptation to help us survive," right?
so. What you're
Or
describing
I
right
don't
now
know,
is
like
Lamarckian evolution. I don't subscribe to Lamarckian evolution. It's false.
okay.
It's
So
not the
give me
case.
yours.
What actually does
Yeah.
happen is that just when DNA is being replicated, whether in the animal itself or when reproduction occurs, when two parents kind of create their child, they mix their DNA into the child. And as the DNA is getting replicated, sometimes there are quote unquote errors or just changes to the genetic code, whether that be
Errors.
insertion, deletion, like some type of displacement. And over time, given enough
Hold on, wait.
mutations,
Error.
some
Can I get a clarification? Forgive me if I stop you because it's a complicated explanation, right? I need clarification sometimes. So when you say error, you're saying
I
the
just mean like
advantageous
deviations from the like
hold
parents
on,
code
let
to
me
the like
yeah.
daughter code, basically.
So the advantageous mutation is due to an error.
I didn't say that they were necessarily advantageous. I can continue down my explanation, and that might help you a
I
little
just
bit.
want to know what the error. Can you just clarify
So,
error for me?
okay,
What's an error?
error. I just mean it's just like some change from the original code to the daughter code, basically.
Well, that would hold on. To say error would necessitate that there's a correct way of.
Yeah,
doing
yeah. So
things.
error is a little bit of a misnomer. Then it's just like some change in the genetic code. Like it's not like
Okay, so
error would just be with respect to the parent code, basically. Is what I'm saying. It is some like X change between the parent code and the sorry, hold on. Trying to get the camera, the parent code and the like daughter code. So let's say like it's instead of like ACCG, it's ACGG instead. That would be considered a quote unquote error in this case because it is different from the parent code.
so okay, so random mutations occur to an error, something going wrong.
If you want to put it like that, it doesn't really matter. All it necessitates is that there's some change from the parent code to the daughter code.
Well, the so it's like a mistake, basically.
A mistake would imply like some sort of like teleology, and I don't believe that mutations on their own carry some teleology.
So it's an error. Okay, so
If you
So
want
it's
to,
like
if you want to
something-
believe it's an error to like make it your understanding a little bit better, sure. At its base, it's just some change in the genetic code.
but it's an error.
I just say error is a kind of like
Yeah.
way to differentiate the parent code and the daughter code. That's all
So
that it
you're
means to me.
Like your brain developed due to a series of errors, right?
A series of mutations and changes.
Which are errors.
You're just gonna make the claim that errors are like necessarily
Well, you
bad.
said it.
I don't
You
subscribe to
said-
that. If you want me to finish my explanation,
language.
it'll all come together in a moment. We're like mid explanation. You're like kind of
But hold on,
you're kind of like really you're like really focusing.
I'm
No,
engaging with
hold
your
on. You're
worldview. I'm
focusing
engaging with
on.
your-
So-
Let's take a second, reset. So, do you still need clarification on anything
Yes.
in particular, Joe?
Yeah,
What do you
I
need a
absolutely need.
clarification on so that he can finish?
I need error. So I just want to take down this line of questioning here.
So,
you believe your
I'm
brain
gonna
is
say
a
this for the-
product of a series of errors?
So I'm going to say this for the third time. When I say error, I just mean
It's a yes
some
or
change.
no.
So again,
Well, you're
you said you
essentially
wanted error to be
cross-referencing-
clarified. You said you wanted error to be clarified, right?
No, you decided.
So you said you
gonna
wanted
leave
error to be
as the
clarified.
word-
Yes or no?
No, I don't. I know what
No.
error
Oh,
means.
okay. So then we can move on then.
No,
You
I
know
I
what?
just wanna,
Do you know what
for
I mean by
clarity,
error?
I just
though?
want to know.
Well,
Hmm?
there's a difference between clarification and cross-examination. We're not in cross of what he's saying, so until he finishes his complete statement, there's no real cross of it. You
I'm
can get a
cross-examining the
clarification.
statement itself because there's
You're
already
cross-examining
errors in
my usage of error. That's like really strange.
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
No, I need to
Okay,
make
yeah,
sure
perfect.
that we're
So-
we're engaging on the same.
Wait. So then that's
language here.
clarification. That's not cross-examination. Think
Sure,
you got your terms mixed
well,
up.
I'm cross-examining your use of error. So
Yeah, how do
you know,
you
can
how do
you
you prove that
make-
my usage of error is false here? I'm like so curious.
give me.
If you want to
I-
get
I-
into
I-
like the Philbro shit, go for it.
No, dude. I'm saying. No,
Okay,
it's not-
cool.
I just want to
Let-
make sure
then,
we're
yeah,
operating
let's-
on, like I could pull up a definition of the word error and we could go off of that. You're the
Or I
one
could just-
invoking that word.
Or I
so
could just tell
I'll
you my
just-
usage of it and we'd go from there.
Let's see. That would be
Yeah, sure.
incorrect. That would be
You're,
incorrect. I'm gonna go off
wait,
the
so you're saying
dictionary
you're saying the
definition.
definitions are they have like carry propositions? That's really strange.
Well, I believe in propositions being true. It doesn't. That
No.
doesn't work in
Oh,
real
that's
world,
a
though.
totally different claim. You said that some
Sure.
certain definition was true. How do you parse that out?
Here we go. Error. An error, a deviation from
He's not gonna
accuracy,
answer.
correctness, or a intended result in actions,
Ah,
thought,
correct. For
judgment,
intended
or
result. Gotcha.
computational processes, often representing a mistake or flaw in a system. It signifies a departure from truth or wrongdoing, blah, blah, blah. So error.
So
You
yeah,
want
that's
me to
just not
ask what it
that's
means
just
in
not
the
my
evolutionary sense?
so first off, you have to defend the claim now that definitions are somehow they carry propositions. What's going to be the argument for that? I'm so curious. We can have this little sidebar real quick. So, what's the
No, there's no
argument for
sidebar. You're gonna
definitions being?
defend
Oh,
evolution.
and he's not
I'm
going to do it.
let
So
you. No. That's
you're
what's
not
the
going to
debate
do it.
again,
That's
Leaf?
fine. So
What's the debate again? Yeah, what's the debate? You're defending evolution.
Yeah, absolutely. You just believe that definitions are propositional, and I cannot agree with that. I'm so sorry.
Here, let's go with what error means in the
No, no, no,
evolutionary
no, no.
theory.
I already told you what error means on
Are
my
you
end.
an
You said you
evolutionary
wanted.
theorist?
You said you wanted
No, I don't
clarification.
care about your
Wait,
arbitrary definition
lethal
of
water
error.
guy. Hold on. I thought he said at the beginning of this exchange that he wanted clarification, but now it seems like he's cross-examining me on the definition of error in this
Well, that's
case.
exactly what I was trying to get away from. So
Yeah. Okay.
if we want to do
Great.
this,
So
we can do this, but
yeah. So
I'd rather stick to the prompt.
what a
Yeah, but we can't
cross-exam.
even.
Wait. Hold on. I want to appeal to the moderator here. What a cross-examination of the usage of a word imply that there is some correct, like stance independent correct usage of the word.
Oh,
That would be the case.
Okay. Cool. Great. So yeah. So
do you want to just concede,
so yeah.
Do you want to just
So
concede evolution and switch over to a
what?
different topic? Yeah.
No,
You wanna
absolutely not.
just,
I'm feeling
'cause
I'm in the
just
driver's seat right here.
I'm just granting you that you're giving me
You wanted to hold like the really like negative
statements,
like teleological definition of error. I just take error in this case to mean a deviation from the parent genetic code to the daughter genetic code. So if that's all the clarification that you need, we're going to go based off of that instead of whatever random definition you want to use.
So you're just using your own definition of error.
I'm telling you
Do
my
you
usage
agree
of
with
it
the
in this
definition?
case.
You know what? If you could pull up that definition of error and show it to me,
I'm just telling you my usage of error in this case. And
I don't want to let
I
you
prefaced
use
it with air quotes in the beginning, by the way, because I knew this was going to happen.
No.
So the
Nope.
fact that you're really
Sorry.
hungover on this just shows that I don't know, you might not be all that
You
great
can
faith.
either
But
let it. It's either an error or it's not. It's one or the other.
it is an error based off of my usage of the word error, which just means a deviation from the parent genetic code to the daughter genetic code. Would you
Nobody cares
agree
about
that
your subjective definition?
yeah, definitions are just subjective. They're all subject to like human. Ooh. It is dependent on how we describe words. Yeah.
You came here so confident, dude, and your
Yeah.
argument is definitions are subjective.
Yes, definitions are subjective
Okay.
to the context in which we're using them and like who's kind of writing up the definition at some point.
Okay.
Yeah.
What did I
Yeah,
say?
and I mean, until you can give me a stance independent correct definition of error here, then then we're kind of in the same position here. So
no, I gave you the dictionary definition. Look, I gave you the
dictionaries are written by people with minds, so it's stance dependent. The fact that there are multiple the fact that there are multiple usages of the word error shows that it's stance dependent.
I'm not going to have a debate about evolution.
I'm so sorry.
And allow you to have subjective definitions of language.
Yeah,
sir.
I take subjective to just mean mind dependent. Do you have like some other definition that we want to go off?
Okay. I could roll you on this topic, but that's
I really want to go back to evolution though. So
okay,
great.
I wish
so
you
let's
would,
go back
but
to that.
right here. Okay, so let's use
no,
the correct
and he
definition
doesn't
of
want to go
words.
back. No, what do you mean the right definition of words?
I'm not going to let you use your subjective
Yeah,
definition.
I want to move back to evolution here.
In this case, to move forward with the conversation, are we going to use the proprietary definition of what error is in clarification?
I can just change error to be a deviation from the parent genetic material to the daughter genetic material.
That's
and
an
it's
error.
complete. That is not. That is just
what is
sure.
the definition of
That is
deviation?
how I'm using the word error to be in this case. We can just go from there. That is how I'm using it in this case.
Do you accept that, Joe? Do you not accept that?
It's still an error.
I didn't think we'd get hung up on
deviation.
Error just implies like a teleology. I'm so sorry.
Deviation is the action of departing from an established course, standard, or norm. So
The established being the
that's
parents.
worse for your
Established being the
position.
parent genetic material. Yeah.
That was put there by God. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you presuppose. So yeah. Anyways.
So look, departing from.
So yeah. Anyways,
let's go. A correct version, a correct path.
So let's go back. Let's go back to evolution. I can't believe that we had to like spend this amount of time to like cook you on on definitions here, but
on
let's
your
get back to
subjective
this.
definition, sir.
Yes, that until you can give me
Yeah.
a stance-independent, correct definition of error, then
I
like,
mean,
yeah,
that's
this is
a
just a
different-
non-starter.
That's a different topic, and I thought you wanted to debate
Yeah,
evolution.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's why I want to
I'm
go
not
back
gonna
to
grant
evolution.
you. Okay, so
Yeah.
do
So anyways, just a change in genetic material from the parent to the
I'm
daughter.
not letting you use that. Nope.
See, we can't.
Sorry.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, we can't move on because you're just so hung up on this
You're
word.
rage quitting
So
the debate.
how am I rage quitting the
debate's
debate
over.
when you're the one railroading?
You're
Hold
conceding
on.
the debate.
So you're the one
conceding
who
the debate
stood in
by-
front of the train tracks and told me to stop, but you're telling me I'm rage quitting the debate because I won't run you over
You
on
don't
this?
want to use language like objective definitions of language that we
Oh
all
my
agree
god,
to.
this is like again.
You
just,
don't want to use English. Basically,
I thought this was an evolution
using the
debate. I
English
didn't know I
language.
was gonna have to like debate some like retarded
in
argument
English,
on
not your fucking,
objective
not Bones
definitions.
language.
Yeah, I didn't know that
I'm not gonna
objective
use your
definitions
subjective definition.
that they exist. Yeah, so like, what's how do we know that the stance independent correct version of error is what you just wrote?
So you're conceding the debate.
And he won't answer this. He's not going to
You're
answer
conceding
this.
the debate.
So Kung Fu Joe won't answer this question because that's like the entire point of
this
that
is not
critique right there.
evolution. Sir?
We need an answer to this question so we can move forward on evolution.
Apparently, apparently, yeah, because it's so weird.
We can't. Hold on. We can't. We
This
have
is
to
so
have
weird.
agreed upon definitions of language. Otherwise, we're not even. We can't.
So
even
do you
communicate
accept
here.
my usage of the change
No.
in genetic material? No, you don't. Okay,
that's not the definition of error in any.
So
way,
when we
shape, or
anyway,
form.
I'm just gonna
Well,
I'm
he's
just gonna
retracted
move.
the word error. He's retracted
And what
the
are
word
you
Yeah,
using
because
now?
you're so hung up on error.
Deviation?
I just
You want to use deviation?
a change in genetic material from the parent to the daughter in this case. That is what a mutation is.
Okay, it's
And it's
a
just done
change.
because
What's it
of
caused
some.
by?
It is caused by either some type of insertion of some like gene pair, or rather, sorry, DNA pair. In this case, a deletion of some certain DNA pair, or like a transposition of a
Why?
DNA pair from one part of the or why? Just
Why does
is.
that happen? It just happens.
Yeah, it just happens. Yeah.
So evolution just happens.
Mutation happens. Yes.
So evolution just happens.
Evolution is one part mutation, one part natural selection.
It's a yes or no. Does evolution just happen?
Yes, absolutely. It does just happen. And it is one component mutation, one component natural selection.
But
I mean,
but it
you
just
can be
magically happens.
dumbfounded all you want. I've had to explain to you like
so you're
mutation.
positing-
I've
you're
had to explain to
positing
you
magic
the
with
scientific
magician.
method. I've had to explain to you now also what else here? Radiometric dating.
Bro,
like
you're
we've
getting
like
tripped
I'm
up on
setting
step
up.
4 of the scientific method. You can't even get past step 4.
I'm
are you talking
pretty sure
about?
you're the one who railroaded me on the word error earlier. So
Yeah, because
you're the one who
an
stopped.
incorrect version.
You're
of
the
error,
one
yeah.
who stopped the conversation on evolution to
Dude,
have
you
this.
just said that evolution just happens.
So you do grant that you stopped the conversation to have this tangent. Got it.
No, I
okay.
didn't.
I'm
asking you. How
I'm
did
gonna
the
go back
mutation
to evolution,
happen,
and
you
Kung
said
Fu
it
Joe is
just
just gonna go on his
happened.
tangent.
He's
For the
explaining
audience, I'm going
how
to
this
finish
happened.
this scientific method here. So mutation,
Bro.
you see a change in genetic material from the parent to the daughter. This just occurs either through insertion,
It just
deletion,
occurs.
transposition. I mean, do you want me to like get into like the nitty gritty about how like
Yes,
replication occurs?
That's what you're supposed to defend. How does the mutation occur? And you said it just occurs.
So I told you either through the insertion of DNA, the deletion of DNA, or the transposition of some certain DNA strands. Yes.
How does that happen?
You'd have to like at some point we're gonna have to get like a geneticist to like go into the absolute like nitty gritty on how like genetic replication
So
occurs.
you believe in something you don't even understand.
I do not understand it on the level of a PhD. You're right,
So
or
it's
or of an
dogma.
undergrad in biology. Yeah.
So I'm no more dogmatic.
I do not have a degree in biology. That is correct. I can only tell you what I do know to my best extent.
Well, I'm not a priest,
Okay.
and I'm telling you, and I'm still my theory still holds. Like everything.
You have
still
not
all there.
demonstrated the
Like,
falsification. You demonstrated that creationism isn't falsifiable, which is very funny because earlier you said evolution wasn't falsifiable, but you told me that you cannot you cannot experiment on creationism. So until you can give me an experiment that proves
Okay,
creationism,
here, I'll
then
give
you can
you.
just no. Hold on, we're not even done with my experiment here either. If you want to give yours after, we're more than happy to do that. But again, so through mutations, we have changes in genetic material, and from there, let's going back to the mammal example or the whale example. Some mutations would better favor, say, locomotive motion on land. Some would favor motion in the water, and over time, we see that animals that these mammals that favored locomotion in the water survived in that environment more often, and so the increased dependability or dependence on being in that water environment to get either shelter, food, or otherwise led us to go from, let's say, the Pakicetus to the Amblicitus to the whale in this case. And we
I
would
have a
see the
question though.
degradation of the land dwelling structures in favor of the aquatic structures.
I have a question. Are species a scientific fact?
What do you mean by that?
Do your best.
No, I want you to clarify.
I can't. Are species, the category species, regarded as a fact in the scientific community? In the
As in
theory
there's
of
like
evolution?
a definitive boundary between one species and another.
The question is very simple: yes or no. Do your best on it.
I'm trying to
Are
clarify for you.
species a
Are you
scientific
saying
fact?
so? Are you saying that species meaning a definitive boundary between like one organism as opposed to another organism?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that there's like a very sharp line between one species and another. It, especially when we're talking about like modern taxonomy, there are some animals that you could argue one way or another are either the same species or two different species. Again, that's like a very like high level like conversation about effectively like the philosophy of like what a certain species is. But going away from the species, we can verify that like families exist and they have like pretty distinct categories. We can go up all the way up to like phylum, kingdom, et cetera, et cetera. And we would have pretty nice clean categories there. But species is where everything gets a little fuzzy. And that's just
So
because
what's the
of the
answer?
resolution of that.
So what's the
If you're
answer to that
talking
question?
about like rigid structures between like one organism and another, I would probably say no. But if we're talking about, say, like there's like some like genetic cluster of organisms that fits this moniker versus another genetic cluster of organisms fitting this other moniker, then yes. It just depends on your
Okay, so
definition of species here.
how can you have a scientific theory based on species if species are not a scientific fact?
No, we're basing it in part on like the taxonomic structure. So species is just like the like minute details. It's like saying that we can't know the like true length or the true width of a hair because we don't have the exact measurement of that hair. We just have like an approximation based off of the best available tools. Like
So
it's like saying
species.
that you can't use like a dial caliper is not going to give you like the most exact like width of the hair, but it'll get you pretty close. I mean,
Okay.
you can be like all this, you just be ignorant of it. It's fine.
It's not. It's
It's
just
not
not
a really,
adding up.
it's
It
not
seems like.
effective to like just be like, oh my god, this guy is like so crazy because I have a like good understanding of the source material
Okay.
here.
I hope you have a good understanding because I haven't gotten
Yeah,
there
it
yet, I
seems like
guess.
you get really worked up on this. Yeah, you would agree that using a dial caliper to measure the width of a hair is probably going to be a good enough tool for what we're using it for. That might not even be true. You could probably find something that has like a
Okay.
smaller resolution to better fit that. Like you've already granted that it's a bad tool to use like a ruler to measure the width of a hair, just like saying that like species gets like really into the granular at the moment, and that's probably the best that we have to kind of distinguish between
Mhm.
one animal and another, or one
But not
plant
a
and another.
scientific fact.
Well, let me ask this
Well,
question.
you still haven't
This
defined
can-
what a scientific fact is. I gave you kind of two different concepts of what a species is.
Let's see if we can agree here. A group of living organisms consisting of similar individuals capable of exchanging genes or interbreeding. So once they are no longer in that category, they cease to be a species.
They go ahead.
That is probably fine for this discussion. Absolutely.
Okay, so is that a science? Is that a fact in science?
It is just the definition of of what species is in this case. It can be used by scientists. Sometimes they'll use like certain other definitions depending on what they're going for. But for laymen people like us, it is probably like effective enough.
But the thing is, it can't be the case that whatever life form you're referencing is one thing, because it's always in flux. So it's not
It's just how we define the species in this case. We define the species based off of shared genetic clusters.
Okay. I have another question. Does
evolution are you normally like this, like just like we like effed off? Sorry, I don't know if we can curse here. Are you normally like this, like effed off on this?
Curse until your heart's.
All right, cool. So yeah, are you normally like this, like fucked off whenever someone gives you like an explanation on certain concepts?
Well, it's the absurdity of the explanation, right?
Yeah, how's it absurd?
Because I asked you earlier, how does the mutation happen? And you said it just happens.
I cannot give you like a better explanation of how like mutation occurs other than it is just a change in genetic material from the parent to the daughter when there's replication. Right.
Well, then like the Christian on the other side could say, well, God just created us, and that's, equally viable.
So on one hand, I'm just telling you that I do not have a sufficient explanation to go into the nitty-gritty of replication that you can find like by reading PhD papers, by reading textbooks on this, and then you're just saying that that's equivalent to we have this hypothesis that we cannot test at all.
So you don't have a scientific explanation for the thing you believe in, but
so
you're reaming on me.
Not having,
hold on.
Okay, sure.
You're reaming on me. You're reaming on me for believing in a God if God can't be proven through science. But yet you haven't used science to prove how the random mutation happens. You said it just happens.
So once again, you're just like misrepresenting my position. I'm telling you that I cannot sufficiently to you go into the nitty gritty of DNA replication and mutation to give you like everything that occurs there. And you're saying that is equivalent to God did it. I can't explain it at all. There's no way to explain it. Therefore,
I can't get into the scientific process.
You're saying that those two positions are equivalent. You're saying that those two positions are equivalent. They're not. Whereas on my end, I'm telling you that my knowledge on mutation is insufficient to get into the like minutia of mutation for the sake of this conversation. You are instead proposing an alternate hypothesis that has no explanation. Those are two like disparate positions, by the way. They are not equivalent at all. And to say that it is like somehow absurd is in fact an absurdity that you think that those two are equivalent at all. And it just shows that you're like hilariously bad faith.
No, hold on.
It is hilariously bad faith.
Hold on. Your argument, your argument is trust me, bro. I don't have an explanation, but trust me, bro, an explanation exists. I don't grant you that.
So do you want me to like refer you to like biology textbooks on this? Like, is that what we're gonna go to?
No, you're the one representing evolution here. You're supposed to be able to.
I am representing evolution to the best of my knowledge. You just getting to the bottom of my. You're saying that you getting to the bottom of my well of knowledge is the equivalent of providing an alternate hypothesis with no explanation. Can we get that on record?
I'm asking you to tell me how evolution occurs.
You're telling me to get into the nitty-gritty of mutation. You're telling me to get into the minutia of mutations, which is not my expertise.
Well, earlier you were asking me to give you the scientific explanation of how God created everything at the same time. So I don't see why this request
as a way to demonstrate that your hypothesis can be falsified, and you failed to do that.
But then
once again, I told you that creationism cannot be falsified.
Falsify this claim either. You
I
can't
can.
falsify this claim either, that it just
So
happened.
with that mutation, okay, so the falsification for mutations is that you just see like parent to genetic material and daughter genetic material being the same. That's how you falsify a mutation. So I don't know why you made that claim. That's like hilariously bad. Like, are you normally like
No,
this
no.
ignorant and bad faith?
It's not bad faith. I used
It's
your
not
words.
bad.
I
It's
asked
not
you
bad faith
questions.
to say that mutation is no falsification criteria when the falsification criteria is just parent material and daughter
No,
material being the
that's not what
same
I
thing.
said. The random
And here
mutation,
we go.
that you said just happens.
I didn't say
That's the
random. I did
unfalsifiable
not.
claim.
I didn't say random.
Oh, it's not random? The mutation's not random?
True randomness would just be something akin to like white noise and like a data spread.
So the mutation's not random.
I have no idea whether it is random. Random to me just means like it would just be indicative of like true white noise, which true white noise doesn't exist. True randomness cannot really exist.
So if it's there's a problem for you here, because if it's not
Am
randomness,
I
then
gonna have
it's
to
by
explain this to him
design.
too? I'm gonna have to explain it. All right. So
Oh no, don't cope by
true.
doing
Yeah,
the
I'm not
sidebar.
You asked the
coping.
question, Joe. You got to let him explain.
Yep.
So randomness basically just means that like a data spread cannot be like correlated at all. Basically, the correlation is just
Can I clarify
zero.
what I mean by random?
Okay, sure, go
The
for it.
evolutionary theory defines random, meaning that they don't know if the outcome of the mutation is going to be advantageous, neutral, or deleterious. That's what I mean by random.
So that just more so aligns with like something that's just unknown. Randomness, when we're talking about statistics, because biology utilizes statistical analyses, just randomness just means white noise, and that the data has no correlation with itself.
That's not what randomness means by the evolutionary theory. You could look it up.
So definitions are context dependent. Oh,
Hold on, wait. If you can't use
you're
the
right. You're
definitions
right,
of
Kung
your
Fu Joe.
theory, can we operate
Definitions
under
are
your theory?
context dependent. There is no objective definition. Great. I'm so glad that we closed that thread off. So going forward from that, going forward from that, instead of like quibbling about the minutia of words, we can actually like, finish this. We can actually finish this experimental analysis. By the way, so going from there, we would see that through mutations, we would see. Wait, okay. What was the question? Let's hear it. All right, not answer it. He doesn't even have a question.
Like you didn't. Yeah, no, you didn't engage with the definition of random but by what the theory of evolution defines it as. The theory of evolution, if you knew it better than as well as I do, is that when they say random, it means that they don't know whether or not the mutation is going to be advantageous, or if it's going to be deleterious, or if it's going to be just benign or neutral. That's what they mean by random.
So let it be known for the audience that Kung Fu Joe does believe in the idea that definitions are in fact context dependent. I'm glad that we got the way. I'm glad that we got the worldview. I'm glad that we got that concession once again. By the way, but also like when we're using statistical.
I don't agree with evolution. I'm giving you what your worldview is supposed to say.
Well, he's pointing to one specific thing in this.
Hold on, Leith, really quick. Leith, what I'm trying to point out to him is I don't agree with the theory of evolution.
Holy shit, this is such a dog walk. Holy fuck.
What they mean by random mutation. So if he's not representing evolution,
this is such a dog walk. Holy shit.
I don't know what he's representing, because I thought we were debating evolution.
I thought this was going to be difficult. Okay.
Well, right now we're debating terminology more than we're debating evolution, but that's perfectly fine.
I gave the correct terminology. You could look it up on your end if you want, Leith. The definition, what they posit by random.
And he's flip-flopped again.
No, look, here, I could look it up for you if you would like, and I could solve this right now. Here, let's
hold on.
Look it up.
Well,
let's see.
Here we go.
What does random mean under the evolutionary theory?
Oh, wait. So that's dependent on some sort of context within evolution, right?
Your worldview.
Wait.
I'm operating under your worldview.
Wait, so you're saying that's a false definition of random?
I'm doing an internal critique.
So wait, you're saying that it's a false definition. I'm saying that your usage of random is going to be a category error because
it's the one
when
you're
we're talking,
married to, not me.
so
It's the definition you're married
when
to.
I say you're conflating the usage of randomness here, because
Bro,
when we're talking about
here?
when we're talking about data analysis here, when we're talking about the spread of like genetic material in this case, it has, well, not has to be, but it is the case that statistical randomness is what we're going to be using when we're talking about allele frequencies. When we get into genetics, by the way, which is going to be another part of the topic here, we have to talk about endogenous retroviruses soon, but yeah, when we're talking about like randomness, what I mean by randomness is just statistical randomness, which is the unpredictable events or data sets lacking recognizable patterns. And I liken it to white noise because white noise has no distinct pattern whatsoever. It's a theoretical concept too.
So like, do the mutations happen randomly or not?
They do not have a true randomness to them now.
So by design.
No, that does not imply by design.
If it's not random,
the design would imply design implies a teleology. It could just be the case that it occurs without any sense of purpose or inherent purpose.
If it's not, wait. How,
I mean, the fact that you don't know this is just you said you knew evolution, but the fact that I'm having to teach you all this is just really strange to me.
No.
As someone who's debated evolution like several times, here. By the way, that you've debated evolution several times right now. I'm assuming for like what, months, years? Like, what are we talking? And you're getting like dog walked by someone who like
meta. Okay,
who,
I'm not
like,
interested in the.
You're getting dog walked by someone who like took like a week to kind of just like re-up on some previously like learned knowledge here.
You can't even, you're not even using the definitions.
You're getting hung up on definitions because it's just like an imperative to your worldview to get hung up on them.
Okay, so you don't
because
care.
We're getting hung up on my definitions, but where your worldview gets hung up is just at the concept that can't be falsified.
It's the definitions. So if we can't use,
you're getting hung up on my usage of certain words. Your worldview gets hung up on the fact that it can't predict anything.
If we're going to have a debate where your definitions are subjective, then you're conceding the debate.
You have to provide an argument for objective definitions if you want to argue the case.
Okay, if you want to concede the debate, I will.
No, I'm so sorry. You have
okay. Well, I'm not going to use subjective definitions, dude.
Because the topic of objective and subjective definitions is tangential to this debate right now. I cannot like concede this entire debate because we want to go into this tangent. What we can talk about is close up the tangential thread here and then get back to the mainline topic. The fact that you are continuing again to diverge from the topic of evolution just shows that you're not read up on it. You're not knowledgeable of evolution, and you're just like you really just want to like devolve into like the philosophy of tangential topics here.
What do you think? What is the philosophy
talking about definitions being objective or subjective is philosophical. It's linguistic. It's a tangential topic to science.
Just grant me my definition so I can have my theory, my everything. Just grant me my.
You said it yourself. We need to have a common understanding of the words that we're using. I'm not just going to like grant every single definition. I want to talk about the usage that pertains to this topic. And keep in mind, we still haven't gotten to the end of this because he keeps quibbling about definitions, by the way.
Yeah, because you want to use a subjective definition, and I'm saying no.
Well, you said earlier this was an internal critique, right? So of course you have to grant my definitions. Of course you have to grant them.
No, what?
That's part of my worldview, right? Wait, an internal critique is
subjective definitions.
Is you taking the same baseline knowledge that I'm using and agreeing with that, and then finding flaws within my argument from there. You're quibbling about the definitions. That's not an internal critique. That's you complaining about my usage of words.
It is an internal critique because
how is it an internal critique? So where's the contradiction between my usage of the word?
How are you going to ask me a question and then block me when I start to answer your question, dude?
Because you're not answering this, but you go ahead. You can answer.
I am. How can I answer?
I'll let you diverge
further. Over me.
I'll let you diverge.
Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, how are you? Like the internal critique is I'm looking at the language you're using and seeing if you're using language correctly. And sure enough, you're not. You're saying it's a subjective definition.
So all that's required in an internal critique is that what I'm using for terms and for arguments is going to be consistent throughout. It doesn't matter whether my usage is correct. You have to find the contradiction in my worldview. The fact that you
I
didn't know what
can't
an internal
understand
critique
your
is before now,
worldview if we
too,
can't
is like
if we can't
he's
agree on
spurging out again.
definitions.
You're
I
spurging out
can't, no,
again.
dude.
But anyways,
You
getting back
keep
to this,
missing
an
this.
internal critique just measures the consistency within my arguments. All you need to do is just grant
Yes,
the
yes,
definitions
it's
that I'm
inconsistent
saying.
that you have subjective definitions. That's inconsistent.
Okay, what's the contradiction? I'm so curious.
Because I could just tell you chair means table. I could just like change all language right
So
now, and you
that
couldn't say I'm wrong.
so that just doesn't align with my beliefs. So that's not a contradiction of my beliefs. A
How does it
contradiction,
not
by the
believe-
way,
you
is
just
some
said
claim.
it's subjective.
So once again, I'm having to teach Kung Fu Joe about certain topics. So a contradiction is going to
Oh
be
my
some
God,
premise
bro.
P.
Teach
Let's
me the
say
definition of subjective.
I'm going to teach you the definition of contradiction first. I already told you what subjective means. You need to lock in and go back 10 minutes in the debate. But a contradiction is just going to be some premise P and some premise not P both being true. So let's say that premise P is just going to be I am wearing a gray shirt. Premise not P is I am not wearing a gray shirt. And me holding the view that I'm wearing a gray shirt and not a gray shirt at the same time will be a contradiction. So now that you know
You know what
now that you know what a contradiction is, can you tell me the contradiction in my worldview using the definitions that I used?
Yeah, sure. Do you know what special pleading is?
Well, here we go.
Do you know what special pleading
what's
is?
special? Yeah, you know what? What's special pleading? I'm so curious.
Yeah,
See,
so
I've been
let's say
teaching
we
you this whole
have a
time. You can teach me.
definition. Let's say we have a definition of a word, right? And everyone agrees that the definition of a word is this, but you're saying no. I'm making special pleading that the definition of this word means what I think it is. You're doing a special pleading fallacy for definitions.
So you've conceded that I'm not contradicting. By the way, that right there was just that was an implicit
fallacy.
That was an implicit concession right there on me contradicting. So now that we know that I'm not contradicting,
logical
now you
fallacies
then
to push
so
your
now
worldview.
now that we've shown that I'm not contradictory in my worldview, now you have to prove that I'm special pleading.
No, you're illogical. You're
No,
illogical
he
by
can just
in-
assert
by-
that
by
I'm.
inducing a
He can just
special-
assert that
a
I'm
special
using
pleading
fallacies and not prove it at all. Got it. Cool.
I just showed you. I just
So
demonstrated. it to you.
this is
You're
like the
taking a
fourth time
word
you've
and you're
railroaded this
making-
debate and you've lost on the tangential argument. Like
You
how many
lost.
times?
You
How many
can't
times
even-
am I gonna have to whack you around before we get back to the topic?
Bro, you this is such cope right here. You're like,
I mean, you can say that this is
dude, I'm
cope. You
winning
said
so
that I
bad
contradicted
because I'm making
myself,
words
but you
meaning
couldn't find the
whatever I want
contradiction,
them
so
to
you had to
be.
move to a different fallacy that you couldn't also prove either. Like
It's a fallacy. Yeah, it's a logical fallacy. You're using a
I
logical
get that you're like
fallacy
flailing
to make
around.
your
But, like,
argument.
we gotta like get linear here. Like all this like branching off right here. It's not really productive as a debate. It's not really productive for
Hold
your
on,
rhetoric.
hold on,
It's
hold
not
on.
really productive for you winning.
This
Like
is a
I really just don't
textbook
get it.
Special pleading fallacy. You admit
How
that,
is
right?
how is it special pleading?
I just explained it to you, and you want me to walk you? Okay, I'll do
Uh,
it really slow. Okay, were you ready?
Yep.
Word mean thing. Word mean thing that many people agree. Word mean thing. You say word mean something else. Word mean what me want word mean. That's how you're doing the special pleading fallacy.
So this is the third time, by the way, that he's conceded that definitions are subjective and that they're subject to some group of people or person, to some mind.
All right.
So now that
bro.
we've gotten that, it's not special
All right.
pleading because I'm just again I don't believe
agree. I
that
don't
definitions
agree.
carry propositions. So like this idea that I'm like
was that-
holding
is
to
that
some
a-
like
was that a
propositional definition,
proposition?
it's just a category error. That's
okay,
literally
is
just
that
a
true?
category error.
Is that
What?
true what you said? That right there, that whole thing you just said.
Oh yeah, because I hold all my views to just be true. Yeah, absolutely.
So it's
I
true because
have
you
an
believe it's true?
ontologically like primary being that that makes it true. Yeah. You wanna know
believe
what the
it-
being is,
you
by the
believe
way?
It's true.
No,
You
I have an
have- what, the
ontologically
devil?
primary being. I have an ontologically primary being that like makes it true. So yeah, this is the ontologically primary being. By the way, this
Yeah.
is Spike, the pair of scissors. Say hello to Spike, everyone. The ontologically primary being. So yeah, that's going to be my grounding for everything in this debate.
Would you say Spike is non-contingent?
Yeah, no, Spike is necessary. Spike is a necessary being.
Spike is a necessary being.
Yep, absolutely.
Spike did Spike exist before you did?
Absolutely yes. Spike
It
has to
did?
exist by necessity in all possible worlds.
Can you prove
Well,
that?
this is like the 5th time he's like diverged, by the way. Like now I'm
Bro,
like making
you're the
fun.
one.
Now I'm making fun
Hold
of the
on.
ontological argument for him too. Like
You
this
just
is like
said, how are you doing? Hold
like
on.
where like this is where this
It's
is the
true
state of
because I said
creationists.
it's
By the way,
true.
they can't prove anything in their worldview.
Okay.
When I'm asked to
Really?
provide my worldview, we're getting quibbled up on
Yeah.
whether definitions are
Mhm.
objective or subjective.
Yeah.
And it seems to be the case that you're being gapped
Yeah.
intellectually, you're being gapped on the facts, you're being gapped on the rhetoric, you're being gapped on the sidebar, and you're just being gapped here right now on the ontological
Got
argument
it.
too. Like I just
Okay.
predicted literally everything right now. So can
Got
we
it.
get back to evolution, please?
Yeah. I don't think there's any reason for me to believe that anything you're saying is true, because you don't even believe in objective truth. So
I'm so sorry.
there's nothing here.
Spike, the pair of
No,
scissors
no.
right here, the necessary ontological primary being right here,
Well, hold
just
on.
makes all these facts true.
Hold on. I got some questions for you.
This was bestowed onto me. These facts
Okay,
were bestowed to me.
yeah, hold on. Pump the brakes there, buddy. Hey, so
He's going to get into
do
the
you
ontological
believe
argument. Here we go.
do you believe that well, I want to investigate your worldview. I'm going back into the eternal critique again.
And now,
So
and look at this. We're off evolution again. I'm so sorry.
no, we're going into evolution.
Lethal Kai.
No, this is part of
Is the
evolution.
is the
You're a
topic
naturalist,
evolution
right?
or is the topic the ontological argument?
This is linked. This is
As
linked
far as
to
I
evolution.
understand, this is an evolutionary debate.
Great. So
Yep.
And
would
it
you
is
agree that
evolved into
the
something
ontological
different,
argument
and
is
I
a
don't know how.
sidebar then?
Yeah, but we can't.
So the
you already
ontological argument is a
said
sidebar. Can we get back to evolution, please?
we can't because I'm not granting you your definition, your subjective definitions.
Okay. So again, you need to provide the
Yeah.
argument for objective definitions then.
So I'm gonna do it. So I'm gonna prove that you have no property over that.
So
and I do.
we're not going to prove that
And
the
I'm gonna
definitions
use
are
your
objective.
worldview. Go
We're
ahead.
not going to so we're not going to
Can you
prove that
set us on a
that
timer?
definitions are
Can you
objective.
give us a timer, 1 minute back and forth? Because he's interrupting
no,
too much. He's
I'm not
he's
going
just
to grant this.
filibustering.
I'm
You're
not
just
going to. Nope.
filibustering, bro. You're just
So
filibustering.
I'm asking you, can you provide an argument
filibustering.
for objective definitions? Yes or no? Can you provide that?
Yes.
All right, provide the argument, please. Ideally, if you can formalize it, that'd be great.
Sure. So objective, like, do you believe in that there's such a thing as objective truth?
So I want you to provide the argument for stance-independent definitions.
Yeah, I'm giving you the argument. I'm giving you it in a form of a line of questioning.
So I just want you to provide the argument.
Oh, sure. So
We need you to
premise
establish
one,
your worldview with respect to definitions.
we use logic to create language.
That's
how
it.
we came up with definitions. Yeah.
That's a premise.
Yeah.
That is
We use
that's
logic
not an argument. That's just a premise.
What are you asking for? An argument?
I'm asking you for an
objective
argument that where the conclusion is definitions are objective. What you just provided me was some premise.
Well, logic is objective.
Okay, so again, we're at logic right now. I need to get us
Yeah.
to definitions here.
Yeah, we form definitions through logic.
We form definitions through logic. Can you demonstrate that?
Yes. Yeah, if me and Leith wanted to create like a new language right now, we could get together and then create different sounds and then assign meanings to those sounds, and that would be like using logic to create language.
So you're saying that it takes minds to create sounds?
Well, you'd have to have a body and the capability to create sounds. Yeah, so long as everything
So-
is working correctly.
So you
Yeah.
agree? So you agree that it takes a mind to create a sound? I just want a yes or no right there. Just making sure.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So you've just completely disproved the worldview here. So you just said
How's that?
by the way, that sounds are subjective. By the way, that it's mind dependent.
No, I didn't. I didn't say
Yeah.
sounds are subjective.
So subjective just means like mind dependent in this case, or dependent on some subject. You creating a language is dependent on you and Lethal Water Kai creating a language and putting your minds together to create it. So
Yeah,
you just
so we're
right
using
there, you just
logic,
proved
right?
You just prove that language is subjective too.
No, well, so the referents are subjective, but the referent is not. So I could point at the apple and say that's an apple, and it's still going to be an apple. It's still going to be a fruit hanging from a tree, no matter what I call it. I could call it
Yeah.
an apple in Japanese. It's still going to be there. The rock is still a rock, no matter what we call the rock.
Yeah, but the mouth sounds that you describe that object are going to be subject to language, right? And language is subject to whatever mind created it,
What
right?
is language? What is a language?
Language is just going to be like some set of like mouth sounds that correspond to some like set of rules that are created by humans.
A set of rules?
Yeah,
What kind of rules?
like syntactical rules, like grammatical rules, how we
Mhm.
like say certain things, I
Mhm.
guess the phonetics.
Definitional rules? How about definitional rules?
Yeah, they're created by humans. Like humans
Yeah,
create
definition.
languages.
So in order to use a language, you need to operate from within its rules in order to leverage it, correct?
And
Language is a
are the
tool.
rules mind dependent?
For understanding, yeah, we need
Okay,
to
great.
independently
So we
interpret the
we're still
rules. Yeah.
on rules being subjective for language. So we use these mouth sounds to create definitions
Mhm.
in a language, by the way, which is subjective. So right now we're getting all these parts together right here, all of which are subjective here that describe
But we
an
can't use a
object in
language
reality.
unless we all agree on the definitions, correct?
We can agree on most of the conventions of a language, yeah, but over time, languages are going to morph. A common example of this would just be like
They
AAVE.
morph by agreement, right?
They morph by, I guess, yeah, common usage, sure.
Common agreement, yeah.
Yeah, but
Okay.
there's no like propositional like truthiness to like AAVE, or like there's no like propositional truthiness to like calling this a pair of
I didn't
scissors.
say there was. I didn't say there was. I'm saying in order to
Great.
use
Then we
language, you
agree
need to
that
obey the rules
that
of the language.
definitions are subjective. Then what you've just done is agree for the fourth
No,
time now
no.
that
The
definitions are
language has a
subjective.
set.
And
No, they're
he's
not
gonna flail
subjective.
again.
They're not subjective because one
Here
person
we
could go
go.
blah 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 blah, right? And you don't know what I'm saying unless we all agree on what blah 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 means, right? So it's language is useless. There's
So
the
wait, so
reference and there's
it's
the
true.
reference.
So it's true if it's popular.
It's true if you agree, not true, it's just a language. You agree on the rules of the language,
So
and
okay,
that
so it's
makes the
not
language
propositional.
valid.
Okay, so it's not propositional. So
No, it is propositional. You have to propose that that X means Y.
what's the proposition in saying scissors?
What are scissors?
Scissors. I just described scissors to be like this object right here that has two blades right here that when formed together can cut some object.
And is that your subjective definition, or is that a mutually agreed definition based on the language you're using?
Both are subjective definitions, so that's just going to be a category error on your part.
No.
And he's frustrated again.
Is a mutually is yes or no?
You're
Yes
going
or
to be
no?
this frustrated the entire
Didn't I
debate. I get
say?
it.
Didn't I say he's going to dodge yes or no questions, and instead he's going to go
I
on to a
don't know what
filibuster
question I've
instead?
dodged here. I don't know what
Yeah.
question I've dodged.
Yes or no? Did you create the definition for the tool scissors in English, or did you adopt that from an already created language?
So I just came up with the definition of scissors through like what we would commonly know to be scissors.
So you adopted an already
Yeah, I
uh,
adopted a certain framework from other minds. Yeah, so we're
you
still in the mind
adopted
dependent realm, by
a
the way.
pre yeah
We haven't
you
left the mind
adopted
dependent realm here.
dude, yes or no? You adopted an already created, mutually agreed upon definition for a tool called scissors.
Yes, mutually agreed upon. Sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
right.
mind.
Okay.
Yeah, mind dependent.
Yeah.
Just
So
keeping
but
that in mind,
then
by the way.
when you use the term random or error, you're saying
He's
no.
still caught.
I'm
He's
gonna
still caught up on this.
hold on, stop. So when we use the term random or error, you're going to cope and make special pleading fallacy and say no. This time, I'm not going with the colloquial definition. I'm not going with the dictionary definition or the mutually agreed upon definition in the English language. I'm going to Bones' subjective definition. And
So
if Kung Fu Joe doesn't allow me to use this, he's bad faith.
So we've once again, he's conceded that definitions are not propositional and they're not objective, but they're in fact subjective. And he made once again another
for sure.
He made another category error, by the way. I just said that definitions do not carry propositions, so there is no like right or wrong proposition. It is only relative to my usage.
Is a proposition.
And by the way, we were supposed to get again into like whether my worldview led to a contradiction. He's moved past that for like 5 minutes now, going back into the same topic that he wanted to get dunked on again for, apparently, because like he's like got this fascination with the idea of objective definitions, but doesn't want to make an argument for it. By the way, still doesn't want to make an argument for it, by the way. And it's just a diversion from evolution.
I'll make an argument for how nothing you say here matters, right? And it's operating perfectly within your naturalist evolutionary worldview, right? So you would agree that states of affairs are not true or false. They're just blunt facts, or they're just happening, right?
So how does this relate to evolution?
Hold on, dude. Can you just fucking God, you're just so Weasley and bad faith, dude. Seriously. You cut me off. You won't answer the fucking questions.
I grant that you're frustrated.
Defend
I grant
evolution.
that you're frustrated.
Yeah, because you're a fucking weasel. That's why. You came up here with so much confidence, and you want to dodge questions. Is answering questions hurting your position here?
I've answered pretty much every question so far. And by the way, you said you wanted to debate on evolution, by the way, but again, right now the topic is whether definitions are objective. I am still waiting. I'm still waiting on the argument for that. By the way,
I explained the reference and referent so many times that the referent
he's not going to do it.
Agreed on definition called language. Okay, I don't want to walk this.
So Kung Fu Joe's just never going to answer this question because he wants to go into the meta. He wants to sidebar. This is fine. This is perfectly fine for me, by the way. And I just wait for his really just retarded responses.
Answer my first question: do states of affairs have a truthness or falseness value to them, like a blade of grass just growing or a lion eating a zebra's head?
So how does this get to an objective definition?
Don't fucking ask me a question. Just answer my question.
So this right there, that is a pivot from what we were asking for you to provide here. You said you wanted to get an argument for objective definitions, but right now we are pivoting, by the way. We are pivoting off of that topic. So right now we've forked once again off to like objective definitions. Now you want to fork off again into something different. You have
I'm
just like I'm like waiting for us to get back to evolution here. We haven't even finished. We haven't even finished my experiment, by the way.
I'm trying to walk you. I put the leash on you. I'm trying to walk you.
You've walked me off the path. Like there's like right now we're walking on the nice concrete path. You took us off into some like dirt path, and now you're off the dirt path into the middle of the woods here.
The dirt path is where you want to use subjective definition.
Ask your question again, Joe.
Okay. Yes or no? Do states of affairs have a truthness or falseness nature to them?
This is irrelevant to whether
yes or no.
This is irrelevant to whether definitions are objective. I'm just waiting for you to provide the argument here. I'm so sorry. If we're going to be linear here, we're going to be linear on something here, okay?
I didn't.
And right now, I've granted you just one fork here. I've granted you just one fork off the topic here. I am waiting patiently right now for you to give an objective definition or the idea of an objective definition.
No, language have rules. You have to operate within the rules,
and those rules are mind dependent. Again, we've gone through this several times. Again,
oh my god, you have to the definition.
You
have to agree with every other mind, dude. You have to agree with every other mind engaging with the language.
Do we have
how this works out is someone gives a definition, you can choose to agree or not agree with the definition.
I disagree.
In context.
So then you're not doing an internal critique.
You propose a definition.
Internal critique.
If you don't agree, you propose a definition and see if your interlocutor will agree with it. And
So
I
an internal critique, by the way, just measures the consistency of one's
Oh my
views.
God, dude.
You disagreeing with my definition is in no way progressing the conversation and is in no way testing my consistency here.
You're not
So if
pointing
we
to
want to get
anything
back
that
to,
backs
so
up your
I'm trying
definition.
to get back to evolution here.
I'm going to
trying
use the
desperately
dictionary.
to
I'm
get
using the
to
dictionary
evolution.
to
We are, by
define
the way, we were
all the
supposed to be
terms I'm
debating evolution,
using,
and
you're
now
like,
we were off
"Nuh-uh."
on whether states of affairs are true or false. Like that's how far we've
No,
gone off the
dude.
path, by the way.
No, dude.
So
You
once
want
again,
because you want to go this path. You
so
want to go
once
this
again,
path. So I'm going to take you
because
on
you
it.
because you insist on this idea of objective definitions, and once again, I'm
Not
asking
objective.
for
I
the
didn't say
seventh time.
objective. Nobody ever said objective. Nobody
Oh,
ever said
wait.
objective.
So
Agreed upon
then the
rules
claim that
within a
objective
language.
definitions exist is that's just false. Okay.
I didn't
We
say
agree
that.
then?
I didn't say it. I
You
never
just
said
conceded
that.
just a
I
second
never
ago.
made that claim.
You said that you
never
weren't
made
talking
that
about
claim.
objective
So to
definitions.
try to
So
clean this
I
up a
never
little
made
bit,
a claim about objective definitions.
Joe, would you agree that there are contextual definitions that once agreed upon become objective to the conversation at hand?
I don't know if I would go that far to say objective because I don't agree that language is objective. I agree that language is agreed upon by
he
by-
did it. He
by
did it again. He fucking did
individuals,
it again.
And we create, just like I gave the example
All these concessions
earlier,
that I'm
me and
getting
you
from
could
this is
create
crazy. Like
Klingon right
the fact
now,
that we
right? That would just be me and you, right? And then we could write a script around it. We could get a cult of people to speak Klingon like they do today, right? In reality, what I'm saying is that language operates under a set of rules. You cannot use the language correctly if you're not going to abide by the rules of said language. And I use dictionary definitions for the language I'm using, meaning I'm agreeing to the rules of the language I'm using, and he's saying, no, I don't need to do that.
So I'm just giving you like a different usage. That's all I'm doing. You're just taking one like mind dependent definition, by the way, to be like more useful than the one I'm using.
It's not. But
like the fact that I've like clarified pretty much everything I've said, just to show that like
you made it
I am
up.
consistent
it's a made
right
up
now.
definition. It's just
I
made up by
agree
you
that
only.
I made it up so that way we could like have like a kind of idea of what's going on, because I felt
Okay.
like it was at the time more useful to go off of that than just say,
You know
oh,
what?
like
Fine.
instead of saying
I'm gonna
errors,
play by
instead
your
it's
rules,
just like
then.
changes in like a like from the daughter, or sorry, from the parent genetic material to the daughter material. I just thought that was
All
a
right.
more concise way of putting it. But since
Okay. You know
since
what?
Kung Fu
I
Joe,
think
since Kung Fu Joe
evolution-
just doesn't understand the idea of like what concise means,
Okay.
that's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
He doesn't
You know
understand
what?
like using concise language. He isn't like approximating language.
when
That's fine. So we're gonna go back to evolution
You gotta
because
keep
he's
filibustering,
really
bro.
he said he's really eager to talk about evolution. So
He's-
once
hey, stop
again,
him
the
filibustering,
combination
dude.
between
Well, he's not
mutations.
filibustering, he's going back
Yes,
to
he
evolution.
is. He's going in circles. Can we? Okay, dude.
So no, I'm getting
He
the
is
train
back to
back on the
evolution.
tracks right here.
Okay, I'm going to play
We've
by
pulled
your
the
rules. I'm gonna
conversation
use
back to
subjective
evolution.
definitions. Okay, you
Okay,
know what?
so
That's
he's gonna
fine. You
continue-
can
I'm
be
gonna,
asked,
I'm gonna
man.
grant
That's
you
fine.
subjective definitions. I'm going to play by your rules. I'm going to use
That's
subjective
fine. You
definitions.
can be very salty
Okay.
about it later. So, anyways, going
not
back
salty.
to evolution here. So the experiment, if whales did in fact used to walk, we would see that over time, that we would see the morphological change between some animal that we're saying is a predecessor to now, and we'd find like something in between that. And then we'd find something before then that resembles something a little bit different from that, but resembles the middle animal in this case. In this case, it would be whales preceded by Amblicitus, preceded by Pachycetus. And that would be the evidence that we would find there. And if we didn't find this evidence, it would be in favor. It would show that it would favor some other hypothesis, and it would falsify the idea that whales evolved from land-dwelling mammals. And the way that we test this, in this specific case, we find fossils, we date them to the time period that we're looking for, or rather, what we date them to the time period in which we believe that they're at, using whatever like specimen, whatever we use for radiometric decay in this case, whatever chemicals that we're using.
How you come to believe your theory of evolution?
You wanted me to provide the scientific method here. I'm going step by step.
That's not. Yeah, you're already.
You asked for a step-by-step
I
experiment
disagree
here.
with your steps already. So this is like
So
another
So
question
wait,
begging
so
fallacy.
then
Can I
now you
critique
have
what he just
so then
said?
now the critique
hold
has
on.
to be like how is it not following in line with the steps of the scientific method?
Yeah,
That's
So
the critique
I
because
that you
would
need to
say
levy to
let
me.
him finish elaborating on each step of the scientific method. If you have issue with the steps of the scientific method, you can outline them.
Okay, perfect. And then
what?
the conclusion being that the hypothesis is either true or false. In this case, with whales, the hypothesis is shown to be true in this case, in the like most loose sense of true in this case. And the same fact that you can ever like say that evolution is true, but it's just that it's not false.
Okay, John Cross.
So basically, this is question begging because you start with the first premise is that the assumption that everything has a common ancestor, and you make predictions based on that assumption. Then anything you find couldn't be a non-transitional fossil, which would be question begging. So
Oh,
that would
okay.
be
So
the flaw.
I see where we're
That would
confused
be the
here.
error there. Hold on, I'm not fucking done. I just let you
I
fucking
see where
talk.
we're
I just
confused,
let
but
you
you can go on.
talk.
You can go on.
I just let you talk. So, I mean, I don't even know if that matters because I just agreed by the rules of the game he's playing, and so now I just define evolution as divine creation. God just created us. The biblical account is true, and I guess that concede that. I guess that's debate over.
All right. So I just told you the way that we falsify the hypothesis is that actually whales are not descendants of land dwelling mammals, that in fact they could be descendants of fish. That is a way of falsifying it. Can you try again?
Wait, did you just agree what I said right there?
No, I told you a way that the
No,
hypothesis could be false.
no, no, no.
Your
I
critique was
said,
specifically that the hypothesis could never be proven
hold on.
false. I gave you
You
a way
said
to prove it false. So
wait,
can you
no, no,
engage with that
no,
now?
wait.
No,
I'm
no. He's
engaging
going to
with
pivot
your
off of that now.
I'm engaging with your worldview right now. So you just
So
said
my
that definitions. Can you stop interrupting me? You just said that
you're
definitions were subjective. So now
go
the
go back to the meta.
definition of evolution is that no, it's not. The definition of evolution
So I'm going to
is
be
divine
playing this in
creation.
the meantime, by the way. So go ahead.
Yep. That's my argument now from your worldview.
So once again, I gave you the falsification criteria. Can you repeat it back to me?
Well, evolution no longer exists
Nope.
because I
It,
just decided
he,
evolution means divine
so
creation.
so once again, Joe is just completely lost on the subject here. I don't know how many
Whoa, whoa,
times I have
whoa!
to like
But you
rail.
just said definitions are
Whoa
subjective.
there! I thought you were supposed to let me speak. So, anyways, Joe is lost on the subject here. I told him that the falsification for the hypothesis would just be that whales did not evolve from land dwelling mammals, but let's say fish in this case, or cephalopods, or insects, even like anything other than land living animal or land dwelling animals in this case would be a way to falsify the hypothesis. So, Joe, I'm going to hand this back to you. Can you engage with that, please?
Right now is that are subjective. So since they are, I think evolution, the definition of evolution is divine creation. So there's no longer any such thing as random mutation and common ancestry now. Now evolution just means divine creation. I guess that means the debate is over.
So, what was my critique of your position, by the way? Just curious.
It doesn't matter because
Oh,
definitions are
and once again,
subjective.
so again, Kung Fu Joe's just going to crash out again. I once again, he said that the hypothesis that I gave him that whales evolved from land dwelling mammals could not be falsified, and then I gave
Wait,
him
how am I
several ways,
wrong?
and I gave him several ways that it could be
How am I
falsified. And once
wrong?
again, I'm going to tell you this. So it could
How
be
am I
the case
wrong?
that whales came from, let's say, fish. That whales could have come from insects. That it could have come from fucking amoebas. Could have come from
Red herring, by
anything
the way.
other than land dwelling mammals. And that would be a way to falsify evolution in this case.
It's a
So,
red herring. Evolution doesn't
Well,
exist.
you got to let him finish. You got to let him finish.
so yeah, once again, it is up to you now to tell me how that is not falsification criteria for the hypothesis.
Because evolution doesn't exist.
And there we go. He's not going to
Yeah.
engage.
I am
So
engaging. I'm engaging directly with your worldview. What do you mean?
how did that engage? So let's step back once again. You
Yeah.
told me that my hypothesis could not be falsified. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
I
True,
gave
because
you
definitions are subjective.
so so the claim whales evolved from land-dwelling mammals can be
Subjective.
shown. So whales evolved from land-dwelling mammals could be
Mhm.
either true or false.
Subjectively. Subjectively
I'm
true.
asking you if you know what a claim is. Okay,
Subjectively true.
whales evolved from land-dwelling mammals.
Stance
Is
dependently
that
true.
a proposition?
Stance independently true. Are propositions true or false?
He's gonna crash out. He's going to the meta
Are they
once
true?
again. So
Are
I'm gonna ask the
propositions true or
question again.
false?
So is the
Uh-huh.
statement whales evolved from land-dwelling mammals, is
Yeah.
that a proposition? Yes or no?
Sure.
Can propositions either be true or false? Since you love logic so much.
In your worldview or in mine?
In your worldview.
Well, I've actually abandoned my worldview to adopt yours. So I guess that means they're
Okay. So yeah,
subjective.
under
Yeah.
my worldview, propositions are either true or false.
But that's subjective though. I think propositions.
He's not gonna engage.
I think
Like
propositions
this
mean
is
that they're
exactly what I
always
predicted, by
false.
the way. It's just gonna be sidebar. So yeah.
Well, I'm
So
using
anyways,
your logic, right?
once again, since you've abandoned your worldview, by the way, so you've just conceded the entire debate. I'm glad that we've gotten that out of the way. So
Yeah.
is
How
the
do we know who's right or wrong?
are propositions either true or false?
According to who?
These are the laws of logic that I'm referring to now.
The laws of logic, are those invariant and universal, or are they subjective?
You already agree with me, so I don't know why you think we
Yes
need
or
to
no?
contest this.
Yes or no?
I'm just gonna say yes in this
Yes or
case.
no?
I'm just gonna say yes,
Yes, they
absolutely.
are
And they're
subjective.
instantiated by
Yes, they
Spike
are
the pair of
subjective.
scissors. They're instantiated by the
Yeah.
necessary being Spike the pair of scissors. So yes,
Okay.
Aristotelian logic is grounded in Spike the pair of scissors. So once again,
Okay.
are propositions either true or false?
Stance dependently or independently?
So are propositions either true or false? I want an answer to that.
They're
It
whatever
literally
I
doesn't matter
choose.
whether it's stance dependent or stance independent in this case.
Depends on the proposition.
So are you saying that there's a proposition that can like be both true and false, or is somewhere in the middle?
No, I just
Are you
gave me a
denying
proposition. Now,
Aristotelian logic? I thought you were adopting my worldview.
I am. They're only true or
Okay,
false if
so
I say they are.
so under my worldview, instantiated by the necessary being Spike the pair of scissors, propositions can either be true or false.
Oh, that's cool. I disagree with you.
Okay, cool. Well, what's going to be the argument for that? I thought you agreed with my worldview. So now that
do,
you've granted
meaning they're
my worldview
subjective,
at this
right?
point, and
Subjective.
now that we've reached a point where it's like not conducive to your argument, we're going to
Yeah.
diverge away from my viewpoint now.
No, I'm operating within
And
your
you say that
worldview
I'm bad faith, by the way, but
definitions
like
are
this is like every single
subjective.
tactic that like creationists use to like get out of ever like
I'm just
engaging with the
using
arguments.
your language. I'm just operating from under your worldview.
So no, I already said that my worldview is instantiated by the necessary being Spike the pair of scissors, and that Aristotelian logic is
Subjectively, right?
true. No, objectively
Objectively?
through Spike the pair of scissors.
Oh, objectively. Okay, so it's universal and stance independent.
Yes, Aristotelian logic is stance independent and is instantiated by the necessary being Spike the pair of scissors.
And how do you know this? How do you know that to be true?
Oh, this was just bestowed upon me by Spike the pair of scissors. This is revealed to me divinely.
So it's only true to you and nobody else?
No, other people can be revealed.
I didn't ask
sorry.
you if they can.
Other people
I
can
asked
understand
you,
the revelatory knowledge
I
that
didn't
Spike
ask
the
you if
pair
they
of scissors
can.
brings. But you know, some people
I
are
didn't
close
ask you
to
if they
them.
can.
Some people's minds are closed to Spike the pair of scissors, and
I didn't ask you.
Spike
I
can
didn't ask you
only
can. I said,
Spike can only just reveal it to people who are willing to be open to him.
I see. So okay, God.
Yeah, it must be really nice to have an argument thrown back at you, by the way, right?
Well, there's no art. I'm
Like
just
the wind has
operating
been
under your
taken out of
logic.
your sails entirely here. So
No,
like
no.
when
I
we're on
think
the topic of evolution,
evolution
you're
means
completely lost. I've
divine
had to explain
creation.
every single concept to you, and the most you can get out of me was,
What's a
"Oh, I
concept?
can."
Are they stance
And look
independent?
at that. He's gonna go to the Phil bro shit because he's just completely lost in evolution. By the way, but I've already like smacked him on the Phil bro shit because I can just invoke Spike the pair of scissors right here, the necessary
And I
being.
could
By the
just
way,
invoke
praise be
whatever
upon
flying
Spike the pair
spaghetti
of scissors.
monster, right? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's about
Yeah.
as valid. Yeah.
How am I wrong? How am I wrong?
Well, Spike, the pair of scissors is a necessary being, and yeah. So the
Oh,
flying spaghetti monster is just contingent, and is just borrowing from Spike's world, the worldview that Spike proposes.
okay. Well, my subjective definition disagrees with your subjective definition.
No. I have an objective framework through Spike the pair of scissors.
Says who?
I mean, again, Spike the necessary being right here. All knowing, all powerful, all good.
Uh-huh. I don't hear him telling me anything.
Well, yeah, because your mind's closed to Spike the pair of scissors. You need to open up your mind.
Oh.
All heathens that do not reveal, allow Spike the pair of scissors to,
Mhm.
cut into their minds and
Okay.
insert the knowledge into them.
Here, look.
Then
Okay,
yeah,
this
then
has
they're just
been,
they're gonna be damned to eternal ignorance. So yeah,
this is a pretty fun ride, but let me bring us back to
I
evolution
thought
here.
yeah.
So
Are we gonna get back to
so
evolution? By the way,
yeah. I wanna
okay,
see how
cool. So
you
I still
I
still
it
want
operates
the
under
so I
excuse me,
still
I'm interrogating
so
you. It's
I
your
still
worldview
want
that has
you
to
to tell
be
me how my
interrogated.
experiment
No, you're
just
not
deviates
interrogating
from
me.
the scientific method. Wait, I thought I was supposed to be debating evolution.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Here.
your goal right now is to determine whether the experiment that I've set up right here is out of the line of the scientific method, and so far we've gotten nowhere really. You're still kind of hung
We
up
don't
on the idea of
I
propositions.
want to know how you determine that to be like true or false so I could you could educate me
So
on it,
okay,
but you're
great,
failing at that.
great. So
So
I'm going
can
to
I
do it for
ask
the
you
fourth
let me
time, by
ask
the
you
way.
some questions. Okay, let me ask you some questions.
So I'm going to do it for the
Um
fourth time, by the way. You
no,
said that my
no, no,
hypothesis
no,
cannot be
don't
proven
run
false.
away. Don't run away. Yeah,
No,
don't run
no.
away.
You said earlier that my hypothesis can't be proven false.
You don't believe in truth or
So
false.
no, I'm so sorry. Spike the pair of scissors
Okay,
instantiates
so
like
I'm not
the
I don't
Aristotelian
I'm not
logic
so
here.
sorry. I'm not interested in what you and Spike have to say. I'm just not
Well,
interested.
okay, then I'm so sorry. Then we just can't have
Okay.
this debate if you don't think
You and
that
your scissor
Aristotelian logic is
you and your
true. I'm so sorry.
yeah, you and your scissor
If you believe
friend,
that
I'm
propositions
afraid.
can't be like that, there's some
You and
like
your
third
scissor friend,
position
I'm
between true
afraid,
and
and you're just
false.
not selling me on
Lethal
your
Watercut, he's
subjective
just like
definition
he's
of
just
what
begging for this
evolution
conversation to
is.
get back to evolution, and I can't agree with him
I
more, dude.
swear to
I know,
Spike
but you
right
don't
now,
want
Joe,
to
we get through this.
you don't want to represent
Look,
evolution right now. You want to use a
Spike
subjective
knows all right
definition.
here, and he knows that we're going to get back to the topic of evolution, despite Joe's attempts to
Okay,
diverge from the
so are
truth
you going to
here.
let me
The
run a line of
truth will be
questioning on you, yes
revealed
or
through
no?
Spike the pair of scissors. Okay, I'm
Does
revealing
answering
the truth
questions
through
hurt your
Spike the pair of
worldview?
scissors. So once
Does
again,
answering questions hurt your worldview?
so
Well, are
so no,
you
I've
willing
answered it several
to
times.
accept the
No, you
answers to
haven't.
the questions that you ask?
Yes
So
or no
again,
only. I'm
so
going to ask him a series of yes or no
hypothesis.
questions.
So the hypothesis is
He doesn't want to
whales
let me do.
evolved
He's not
from
going to let me do it.
land-dwelling mammals.
He's
The
not gonna
way
let
that
me
we
do it.
could prove this to be false is that whales do not evolve from land-dwelling mammals, but instead some
You
other
haven't
type of
explained
animal.
how they evolved from land-dwelling mammals, sir.
I already told you the mechanisms. Again, we
No,
can
you
go back
didn't.
30 minutes in the debate and
You said they
rehash this
just
again.
happen. You said they just
just
happen.
I just told you that
said evolution
DNA,
just
so that
happens.
DNA replication happens and that mutations happen
just
as a result of
happens.
that.
Magically?
No, there's a like naturalist, there's a natural mechanism.
How?
I told you this is as deep as
How?
my knowledge goes on mutations
me,
in
bro?
general.
Trust
So
me, bro?
no, I'm telling you that is the limit to my knowledge right here.
Trust
is
me,
that
bro.
gen-
Right?
is that
That's
DNA
your
mutations
argument there?
occur?
So in place of an
So-
explanation, you want to put "trust me, bro."
So no, I'm telling you that you can only that I can only go so far into my knowledge, and that there is more knowledge that
Oh.
I do not have.
Uh-huh.
You
the
do not.
You're claiming
I do
someone
not
else
need
does?
to. I do not need
Hold
to
on,
say
hold on.
that
And you're
it's.
claiming so
I do
you
not
don't
need
have
to-
it. Does that mean
Stop.
someone
I'm not
else
telling
does?
you to trust me.
Stop. So, Joe, do you agree or disagree that he has given terms of falsifiability for his proposition?
No, because he hasn't defined how one thing changed into another. He hasn't like explained that to me sufficiently.
So I told you the types of mutations, by the way: substitution, deletion, insertion.
How does a mutation happen?
How does a mutation happen?
Yeah.
It is just like some deviation from the process of DNA replication.
Don't tell me what happens. Tell me how it happens.
Again, that is as deep as my knowledge goes. I can like pull up papers and kind of go deeper into it and just read off of what experts are saying right here. But like I can give you papers on this. I just
I've
don't
already
know.
looked them up. Yeah, they don't explain it either.
They don't explain it either.
Nope.
Do you like think the existence of DNA is just false?
I didn't say that.
So okay, so does DNA exist?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, great. So you grant the DNA exists. How do you think DNA transfers from the parent to the child?
The the way it does, like you commute, like both the egg or whatever gets inseminated, and then both genes combine into their own unique human.
And so like the DNA like combines with another parent and creates new DNA.
With traces of DNA from both parents. Yeah.
So okay, so you grant that DNA replication occurs. Do you grant that the child is going to be different from the parents?
With variations, it depends.
Okay, cool, gotcha. So I can go even further actually. Then, so do you understand how like cancer happens? Or sorry, no, not cancer. Alzheimer's actually is probably going to be a better way to go about it.
We don't actually understand how Alzheimer's happens really yet.
Uh, yeah, then we can go to cancer a little bit then. So how cancer occurs is that there's in most cells that are on our bodies, there is some sort of termination mechanism that prevents these cells from replicating endlessly. And through some
How?
mutation, there's just like a part of the genetic code that tells the DNA or that tells the cell to stop replicating.
Intentionally or not intentionally?
As in, like it's dependent on some sort of mind to do so.
However you want to
Like
define it.
intention requires a mind.
Oh, so not intentionally.
Intention requires a mind. All
Yeah. So
there's
what's the
like
opposite of that?
there's some sort of like organelle or something that will just read the code.
I understand. So what's the opposite of intention?
Intention is just like it's not like dependent on someone's will.
What's the opposite of intention?
So if intention is just dependent on someone's will, then not intentional is not dependent on someone's will.
So what causes it if there's no intention?
I just told you there's some sort of organelle that reads the DNA code, and there's some section of code, some gene that says, "Hey, stop replicating this cell."
It just says, "Hey," and it like for no reason, it just does it. It just happens.
There is like no inherent reason. It's just like the instructions, effectively.
It just happens.
It just happens. Yes,
It just
absolutely.
happens. Okay. We got there again where he just said that, evolution is a basically magic absent a
So,
magician. It
uh,
just happens, but
so
there's no
magic implies
yeah.
some sort of like
What's happening? That's
supernatural. It's like
magic.
what supernatural concept did I invoke?
No, magic doesn't. No, magicians do magic too, right? Like
Uh,
that's just
oh, so
magic.
now you're so wait,
It
there is
just
a naturalistic
appears, right?
process then. So there's a naturalistic process.
I don't know that. You haven't explained that to
So
me.
wait, so magicians do not invoke like some supernatural concept to do the tricks that they're using. It's usually like a sleight of hand. Like those are things that just
Yeah.
that occur outside that
Mhm.
can be physically, basically. I'm using a new word now
Mhm.
that can be physically,
You
understood.
just made that up in your language?
Yes, absolutely. It's just
Okay.
at its base level,
Consistent.
the sleight of hand can just be kind of determined through physics, through some like hand motions,
Yeah. So it just
however
happens?
complex or chaotic it is.
Yeah. So it just
Yeah.
happens?
So yeah, what I mean by natural is that it's like explained by like physical concepts. In this case, with the sleight of hand, it's just physics, effectively.
So it just happens out of nowhere magically,
It can
like
be
just
explained through like
inexplicably.
it can be explained through physics, biology, chemistry.
It can be, but you're not doing that.
Yeah, because I don't have the knowledge necessary to go into like how like
Uh-huh.
chemically DNA is produced, how
Uh-huh.
at some point the like organelles know when to stop
Uh-huh.
certain things. Like yeah, I don't have like
Uh-huh.
that knowledge, but I can tell you like
So
the
yeah.
description of the
Mhm.
process.
So basically you came here to argue that trust me, bro, it just happens.
So once again, we've already discussed this several times. What I'm telling you is that I have a limit to my knowledge right here, in that there
Mhm.
is some naturalistic process right here that,
Mhm.
however, I can't explain. There are probably people that are able to explain it to a better degree than I can. So I'm not telling you to trust me on this.
Ah.
I'm telling you, hey,
Oh, I
do your
don't.
research and go
Okay.
into the
All
deeper.
right.
So
Got
go
it.
into
You
the deeper
conceded the
like
debate.
understanding of no, I didn't.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. You said don't trust you on this. So I can't trust you to represent
Don't trust
or
me on the
defend evolution right
do not
now.
trust me on
So
anything that I am not
on the
knowledgeable
key
of,
component of
specifically.
evolution, of what causes evolution, don't trust me on the
And
cause
he's just
of
gonna keep doing this,
evolution
by the way.
itself.
So
Don't trust me on the cause of evolution itself.
once again, what I'm saying to
Just
not trust
grant
me
me
He's
that
on
not
it
going to stop.
happened.
is
He's
the
not going to
knowledge
stop.
of
Just
the
let him finish.
Oh,
deeper like knowledge regarding how mutations work at a like chemical basis. I'm not telling you to trust me. I am telling you there are experts that are better
okay.
communicators at that than I am.
All right.
I'm
All
telling
right.
you
I won't trust
that
you then.
I've already given you. So yeah, you don't need to trust
I
me on
won't
like
trust
the
you.
individual chemical processes of DNA. So yeah, absolutely. But you can definitely,
I'll
uh, yeah, you already
I'll take your
granted that
advice.
DNA replication occurs
I
under your
I
worldview.
grant
By the
that I
way,
shouldn't trust you. Yeah.
you've granted that DNA replication occurs. Like you
I
somehow haven't provided a good rebuttal to
should I trust
mutations.
you?
Besides, you don't know like the individual chemical
Should I
processes that
trust you on that?
are you good?
Should I trust you on that?
Are you good?
Should I trust you on your explanation?
Once again, so like
You just said I shouldn't
I
trust you.
described
You said
mutations to my knowledge. I told my debate opponent that I do not know all the individual chemical processes that that
but
create
trust
the
me, bro.
mutation. But now I'm going to get back to the cancer cell analogy because again, he's really wanting to get away from the evolution debate. So
Oh,
the
I'm wanting
difference
to get
between a
away.
normal cell and a cancer cell is that a cancer cell has that like stop replicating DNA strand, like it's gone through like through mutations effectively, and those cells just continuously mutate, and eventually those create tumors, and those tumors they act like cells, but they don't really do much, if at all, for the body, and they just take up the body's resources,
Mhm.
and over time it disrupts other systems within the body, other organs, and eventually can cause like multiple organ failure, depending on where the cancer started and where it spread.
That's incredible. That's so fascinating. Should I trust you on that?
Yeah, he's not going to engage. That's fine. So, do you have any alternative explanations for how cancer works?
Well, it's not my worldview.
Oh, he doesn't. He
I'm
doesn't have a
agnostic,
he does.
remember?
By the way, he does not have. No, you said you
No,
were a
I'm
creationist.
agnostic in
By the
this
way, so
debate.
to the audience,
No, no,
he
I'm
does not have
pretending
a
that there's a
creationist
creationist over
explanation for
here.
how cancer works. By the way, which is, and again, like at the
I
beginning of
do.
the debate, he did concede that sorry, not that
I do
evolution, that
actually.
creationism has no falsification criteria. He told me that since
Uh,
since creation is supernatural, we cannot falsify
does trust me, bro,
creationism.
have a falsifiable creation
I already gave you the
element to it?
falsification criteria for everything, so I
No,
don't know
you said
why.
trust me, bro. There's somebody
I
else
already
who
gave
knows
you
the
the
answer, but I
falsification
don't grant
criteria
you
for
that.
everything, by the way. I already gave you the falsification criteria. You can circle back to like previous debate topics, but I'm just gonna dunk you on that again. So once again,
You didn't dunk shit, bro.
I already gave you the falsification criteria for evolution simplicator. I already gave you the falsification criteria for like whether whales
Mhm.
changed from land dwelling animals. And
Yeah,
now I can give you
yeah,
the falsification criteria for cancer cells.
mhm,
So if you can provide
yeah.
me an alternative explanation for how cancer cells form that doesn't involve genetic mutation, then that would just disprove genetics, which is a key
No,
component of evolution
I'm
or modern
taking an
evolutionary.
agnostic position here. I'm taking an agnostic position
Do you
where
have
I'm
do you
just
have any
internally
critiques? So do
critiquing.
you have any critiques that gives like an alternative mechanistic explanation?
No, I'm
Nope,
the
he doesn't.
agnostic
All right,
position.
cool. So that
Yeah, I'm agnostic, like I
entire
said.
cross examination was completely bunked. So
Well,
let's
there's no cross
so
examination.
I've
You're supposed to.
destroyed
How
you
can you
on
cross
evolution
examine an
broadly. I've
agnostic
destroyed you
position?
on whether whales evolve, and now I've
I
destroyed you
didn't
on
take a
cancer cells.
position.
And
I didn't
yes,
take a
you did. You
position,
said
sir. No, I didn't.
yes, you did.
No, I
Your
didn't.
position is that creationism is true and
No,
that evolution's false.
never said that. I said from the beginning,
Oh,
I'm
oh,
going
you
to
said
take
you're
an
a
agnostic
creationist, though. So you take
position.
creationism to be true. That's we can
Not in
again
this
circle
debate.
back to the beginning of the debate. Yes, you did.
No, I'm not representing creationism in
You
this
said
debate.
that you said at the beginning of the debate that you were a
No,
creationist. I'm so
I
sorry.
said no. That's
You
not what I said. I
explicitly
said
said
that
that you
there's an
believe that
alternate
God created.
explanation.
You explicitly said that God created all the organisms. So
Yeah.
once again, now you're like backing off of that because creationism is just completely
No, you can
indefensible.
rewind the
We
tape.
spent the entire time defending evolution. Well, not really. We spent part of the time debating
So,
evolution and then part of the time debating on whether definitions were objective. And then we went
and
on a
then you
couple of
told me
different
to
sidebars.
trust you.
Spike was invoked. Praise be Spike.
Yeah.
And then now we're back here. You have no
And then you told me
you have
not to
no
trust you.
you can't contest anything regarding the scientific method and how evolution can be applied there. You have no critiques against cancer cells. Besides, oh, trust me, bro. Trust me, bro. You have nothing. You have
That's what you're
absolutely
saying.
nothing. All you're doing is just wasting time. So, can you provide to
Well,
me instead a critique of my position that is substantive?
yeah, that I can't trust you on any of it.
Okay? So, do you have like any
So
like direct contentions with cancer cells
May
specifically?
I ask, Bones, may I ask you, when you say you don't trust me on this, is it a colloquial usage of the term don't
When I
trust me on this,
say
or saying you cannot be trusted in conversation?
So I'm using it in a like very colloquial sense when I mean like the specific details regarding the like chemical processes of evolution. I will not speak on how that happens because I do not have the knowledge on it. Therefore, you cannot trust me to break down the individual chemical processes. And you can only really trust me insofar as whether you can verify whether what I'm talking about regarding mutation is broadly true. So something like substitution, deletion, insertion, like you can verify that independently, and so that way you know that I am talking about the same thing when other people are talking about genetic mutations. In this case, but regarding the super duper minutia, no, and I will not speak on that because that's I don't speak on things that I don't have at least a good enough knowledge to talk about for.
so you can't use the necessary defense of evolution to defend evolution?
So you're just not engaging. That's fine. So I told you that you can't trust me on the individual chemical processes that make up like a mutation because I do not have a good
So
enough knowledge
where do we
to
go from here?
communicate about that.
What so
You
what am I supposed to do?
you need
What
to
am I
provide an alternative mechanism.
No, no, no. If
Already
I
gave you the broad breakdown of how cancer cells
listen, you're
occur.
not listening. Lee, if I cannot trust you on how this process happens, what am I supposed to do?
I can't if you can't you I mean you just have to provide an alternative explanation that can
No,
be tested.
what if I can't no, no, no. I don't why do
No,
I
no,
need to do
no.
that? I'm taking that
Oh
agnostic
no.
position.
No, you said
I'm
you're a
taking an
creationist.
agnostic position. No,
You
I'm not
completely
in this
lost the
debate. I'm not arguing. No, dude,
you lost the
please
ability
stop
to
him.
claim to
He's
be an
not. I did
agnostic when you
not come
said that you
into
were a
this debate
creationist. You
saying
lost
from
the
a
ability to claim that you were
creationist.
agnostic because you said at the beginning of the debate that you were a creationist. You
Is
hold
the
to the
debate
creationist position.
creationism versus evolution? What's the top? What's the prompt again?
You hold the view to be a creationist. You're saying that my
The prompt
worldview
is
is false.
whether or
I
not
need you
the
to either A,
prompt is
tell me
whether or
why my
not
world I
evolution
need you
is
to A,
true.
tell me why my explanation for why cancer cells form is false and provide critiques of
Because I
that,
can't
or you
trust
need
you
to provide
on
an
the
alternative
process.
mechanism that better describes how cancer cells form. So
No,
can you
you
do that? Yes or
dude.
no?
Oh my God,
Can you
Lee.
do that? Yes or no?
You have
Can
not given
you
me any criteria to do that from. You can't provide
so
it.
I told you the mechanism by which cancer cells form. It is basically some genetic change in a cell
Some
deletes
genetic
the
change. How
ability
does that
for
happen? How does it happen?
so it stops the ability
I'm
for
not
cell
just going to grant you
replication to be
that. I'm not
so
just
then
going to
how
grant you
okay
that
so then
change.
how
Tell me
do
how it
cancer
happens.
so then how do cancer cells form under your worldview?
I don't have
You
to.
don't know.
I'm not
You
representing a
don't know.
worldview.
So then
I'm
so
coming
you
from
have
an
so you have no
agnostic
critique then.
position.
You have no critique then.
No,
You're just
not
saying
telling me
nuh-uh.
how it.
Your
You're saying
critique of my
nuh-uh.
position is equivalent to
You're saying
nuh-uh.
yes, huh? It just
No,
happened. You're
no.
saying it just happened.
I
Yeah.
gave you the mechanism. I told you the depth to which I
No, you didn't.
understand that mechanism, and you're complaining that I cannot go into like basically PhD level or
You
not
can't
PhD
tell
level,
me how it
like
happened. Yeah.
bachelor's of like biology level here.
I predicted this in my opening. Remember, I predicted in
You
my
you
opening
predicted that I
you would not
couldn't
be able.
wait. So you said that
Yeah.
you said that evolution couldn't be falsified here. You said that I couldn't falsify evolution, that I couldn't prove it to be true. Not that.
Well, you can't
I
even.
can't explain
How do you
to the depths of
falsify
which
it
you
if
think
you
is
can't even
sufficient
get it through the scientific method
mutations.
first?
I already did.
You can't even. No, you
Already
need to
did.
get
So
it
do you
all the way
want me to
through.
go?
You got
So
stuck
he
on
thinks
step
I forgot
4.
the debate, by the way. He thinks I forgot earlier parts
You're
of the debate.
stuck on
I went
step
through
4.
how a certain instance of evolution with regards to whales follows the scientific method. He hasn't provided any like substantive critiques of it. He just wants to quibble about definitions. Even though he said that it was
Wow.
going to be an internal critique of my worldview, by the way. So he's like completely all over the place. In
Yeah.
fact, I think he's like geographically lost at
Oh,
this
you want me
point
to go back
as
to
well.
your worldview?
I mean,
You want me
you
to go
seem to
back
like
to your
not
worldview?
you seem to like not like adhered to it anyways. Like you're not even
No,
internally
I'll
consistent when it
adhere
comes
to
to
it.
that.
Sure. You want me to do that again? I'll adhere to it.
Again,
Subjective definitions? Sure. I'll adopt
and
that.
again, he's just gonna go back to the meta. So once again,
No,
we're gonna
that's
go
what you want to
to.
do. You want to go back to subjective definitions. We can go there again.
No,
That
you
was
seem
fun
to
the
want
last
to.
time.
So
want
you
do it
seem to want
again?
to, and you also wanted to like pop back to an earlier point in the topic. So once again, I'm just gonna go over the scientific method and an example of
Yeah,
which
okay,
can be found within
He's
evolution.
gonna filibuster
The
again.
evolution of is it a filibuster
There
to
it
talk
is.
about evolution in
There's a
this
filibuster.
previous part of the
Yeah.
debate that you didn't understand?
Go
That's
over the
fine.
thing. He keeps
So
explaining the thing.
going through the
And then I
scientific
get to the
method,
part to how did that happen?
observation.
And he can't explain it. He just says, "Don't trust me."
I cannot explain to you the minutiae of mutation. I cannot
Nobody
explain to you
can.
the absolute minutiae of mutations.
Nobody can.
Nobody can.
Yeah,
So
I don't
since
grant
because
you to prove.
nobody can
You're
to
telling me that I
to
gotta
you
trust you that
sufficiently
somebody
describe.
can.
So because nobody to you can sufficiently describe every single minutia of mutation down to every single thing, because there's some
That's right.
limit to the knowledge that humanity has with regards to mutation. It
Correct.
cannot be falsified. That's
Yeah,
your
makes it
position.
incoherent. Yeah, it makes it
Okay,
incoherent.
so an incoherency would just mean that like there's some sort of like logical like inference that's
Yeah,
like
it's a
going to be
special.
invalid
It's
here.
a special pleading fallacy. Yeah.
So the response that scientists would give is that we don't know with respect to some edge case within evolution.
So it's not
That's
a scientific theory.
So wait, no, that's what?
Saying I don't know is not a scientific theory.
Saying I don't know is just intellectually honest with respect to certain things.
So you don't know how evolution happened.
That's not the position. I told you I don't know how the individual chemical processes of mutation occur.
Oh, so you don't know how
I'm like
evolution
really
happened.
so I'm really like confused.
That's how
here.
evolution happened, right? Isn't that how evolution happened?
So wait. So are you saying that like we can't know anything if we don't have absolute knowledge of it?
You can't know what you don't know.
So once again, I'm just going to answer or ask the question. So can knowledge only be obtained if it's absolute?
I don't know what you mean by that.
All right, cool. So he's not going to answer that because it's just
What's
completely
absolute? What
it
does
completely
absolute
demolishes
mean?
his worldview. By the way, because if he says yes,
does
then like we
absolute
can't
mean?
know
Like,
anything.
No,
And if he
because you
says no,
said-
then
you said
and then if he says no,
definitions
then
are
wait. So
subjective. I need to know what
hold on.
absolute means by your
Whoa there,
definition.
whoa there, Buster. So if he says yes, by the way, that just means that we can't know anything for certain. He would have to give an argument for that.
That's your
and
worldview.
if no, and I'm sorry.
That's your worldview.
I'm sorry. You're complaining about your. I'm so sorry. You're
subjective.
complaining about me interrupting you. Are you okay?
Because
Are you okay?
keep on.
So
keep
are
on getting
you?
it wrong.
So are you gonna continue
addressed
to interrupt
this
me, or are
already.
you gonna let me like speak here? Because you were complaining all debate about how I interrupted you, but now when it comes to shove, now you're interrupting me. So
Don't
great.
filibuster
I'm
me.
so glad that we can now begin to respect each other. So if he says yes to this question, then he has to prove that we can know anything for certain to an absolute extent. And if he says no, then he just grants my position that not knowing certain things outside of our current scope of knowledge doesn't mean that we don't know anything. So like,
Well,
I don't know. Like,
scientifically how God
I know.
created
Understand
all the
why you don't want
creatures
to
on
answer these
Earth
things.
either.
I understand why you don't want to answer these questions, because it like pigeonholes
Yeah.
you into a position that you don't want to hold, because you
Well,
don't want to
that's
hold like
fine.
really difficult positions like this. But
But
I am more
earlier
than willing to. I'm more than willing to
hold
tell
on.
you the limits to my
You're
knowledge.
being a
You
hypocrite
do
right now.
not. You are not.
No, you're being a hypocrite right now because you
Wait, how am I
berated
being a
me
hypocrite?
earlier.
How am I being
Because
a
you
hypocrite? Let's
berated
hear
me
it.
because I'll answer you if you really want me to.
Go for it.
Um, because you berated me earlier about how I can't prove through the scientific method how God created all the life on Earth. And now you're crying to me this whole time that it's unfair that you don't know how the
All
mutations
right.
that created the source, that are the very source of evolution, you don't know how that happened. And you're crying
You
to me
have
about
no
that
alternative
after you
mechanism.
berated me. After you yeah, God just
You
created
have
it there.
you okay, God just created it. Can you
Yeah.
can you provide a falsification here for that?
What do you mean? It just happened.
Okay, great. So I already told you the falsification for mutations.
It
It's
just
just
happened.
that parent's DNA is going to be the same as daughter DNA. That's how you falsify the concept of mutations. I don't know why again you're contesting the idea that mutations occur.
You
This to
don't know
me is
how
just like
you don't know
this
how
to
they
me is like
occurred.
really crazy. It's like really
Explain
insane.
how they occurred. Explain how the mutations occurred.
I already did several times over. So once
No, you
again,
didn't. You just
so
said
what? So once
that they
again,
Well,
happened. You
wait,
didn't
wait, wait.
explain how
Stop
they
and let him.
happened.
Well, stop and let him.
So once again, because Kung Fu Joe is like completely concussed on this, just through the process of DNA replication, there is some deviation from the parent and the to the daughter in this case, whether it be through substitution, whether it be through deletion, whether it be through insertion. It doesn't matter. It's just some change from parent to daughter, and that is how genetic mutation occurs here. So once
But
again,
there's
I'm gonna
always
hand this back.
changes,
I'm gonna
right?
hand this back over to him, and he's gonna strawman me again. Watch.
Are there always changes from two parents to a kid to an offspring?
Yes, necessarily through
There are always
meiosis and
changes.
through
So
like
how do you
sexual
know
reproduction.
So how do you know which of those changes are a mutation versus just the DNA recoding correctly?
Okay,
Correctly.
perfect. That's great. So we can take sequences from both parents in this case, and should be the case that 50% of the DNA is coming from the father, and the 50% is coming from the mother in this case. But instead, what we see is not a clean 50-50 split, but in fact, there's some sort of like change that it cannot be explained by either parent, but can be explained through some sort of a change through DNA replication errors.
Wait, how do you know but you didn't answer my question. How do you know that the difference in the offspring wasn't just pre-coded in the DNA versus a diversion from the DNA?
So once again, I'm just going to explain this. So you can take the genomic sequencing of both parents, and you can also genomically sequence the child. In this case, what you would find is that in an ideal world where mutation does not occur, you would see 50% of the genome being the father's, 50% being the mother's. In this case, we do not see that. Mutation would be proven true if we see that not exactly 50% is the father's, not exactly 50% is the mother's, and instead there's some sort of like some non-zero percentage that cannot be explained by either parent. So once again, that provides a
What's the case
falsification
for that?
criteria for mutations. What?
What's the case for that?
So I can just go to cancer cells once again.
So a cancer cell is the result of the mother and father's
Oh, yeah,
DNA,
sorry.
not
No. I thought you were talking
yeah.
about mutations in general.
No, you were given
There's actually a case right here. So like sickle cell anemia.
no,
Basically,
you were giving the mother the mother the
yeah.
offspring example.
I'm giving you a different example. Sickle cell
Oh,
anemia. So we can have one parent that doesn't have sickle cell anemia and another parent that does. What results is sometimes that the kid can end up having either some variation of which through like the allele frequencies, like dual pine square, et cetera, you find that the child is has blood that is sorry, what's the word I'm looking for? Resistant to like sickle cell anemia in this case. And that
and
can
so how does that answer my question of how do you know it's a mutation, like not meant to be versus meant to be, be by.
Maybe it
I
wasn't.
still don't.
Maybe it was not the best example actually. So I can give a different example then. So let's say that two parents have like different. I can give hypothetical here. So let's say that we have parent A that has brown hair, and let's say parent B has blonde hair in this case. Why not? And it would be the case that they have like the genes for brown hair and they have the genes for white hair. And at some point, it ceases, or at some point through the DNA replication process, that the child does not have the gene for like either brown or white hair in this case, or blonde hair in this case, but instead ends up creating like a black hair offspring. And that would be some sort of change. Another example of this would actually be like the peppered moths that occurred in like London. So
But hold on,
around,
what is the point of, what was the point of that demonstration that you just laid out?
basically that mutation causes like a different outcome, basically.
But what if both parents have a recessive gene from their parents where one of them had black hair?
In this case, they do not have that.
How do you know?
Through in this hypothetical, just through genetic sequencing.
But in the hypothetical, you're operating under the evolutionary worldview that we all
Yeah.
share a common ancestor.
And under the worldview that mutations also occur too. You realize that, right?
Right, but what I'm that's the thing in question,
Ugh.
right? Is the thing in question is the mutation. So I'm asking you, if
So-
we come from a common ancestor, if we come from a common ancestor, that means that it would be necessary that the parents would likely have a grandparent or great grandparent or something further back in the line that does have black hair, and that would explain for the like a recessive gene to come arise in the child, and we see black hair.
Not necessarily. These the mutations can like occur and not propagate elsewhere.
Hold on, what's the difference between a recessive gene and a mutation?
So a recessive gene and a mutation just refers to a change in genetic code. A recessive gene just means that it's like
Yeah, but I'm asking
it doesn't
you,
necessarily
how
mean
do
that
you-
it's like infrequent, but it's basically the frequency of that gene specifically is going to be less frequent than a dominant
I'm
gene.
asking you, how do you know? How do you tell them apart? How do you tell apart?
How do I
when
tell
the
them
kid has
apart?
black hair? When the kid has black hair, how do you know it's from a recessive gene versus a mutation?
Because it would not resemble any of the present genes for hair color.
In present genes in who?
So to simplify this, so we have the brown hair gene. Let's say that that's a dominant gene, and then we have a blonde hair gene, which is recessive. In this case, the existence of a black hair gene would just be a mutation because it does not represent the currently existing.
Well, that's an
like-
assurtion. That's an assertion
I just
because
yeah,
it
this
goes
is a
against the
of course this is a
evolutionary theory.
How so?
Because because if we all come from a common ancestor, that would necessitate that we all have an ancestor with black hair.
So no, that actually does not follow. So all a common ancestor says is that like at some point there in the like hierarchical structure, we eventually arrive at like some sort of common ancestor where we share like a large percentage of our genes. It does not necessarily assume that we have 100% similarity to the ancestor.
What?
So again,
what
this is just
color
like
was
a fun.
Genghis
It's a fundamental misunderstanding of mutations in general. Of course, we're going to be different
Hey, not
from
you,
our
Lee.
ancestors.
Hold on, calm down. I got you. What color was Genghis Khan's hair?
I don't know.
Well, he was Mongolian, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What?
So
typically-
are you telling me that
Leaf?
reality is different from my hypothetical? Is that where we're going to go with?
Leaf is actually an expert in this. What color was Genghis Khan's hair, Leaf?
He was
Since he is
bald and beautiful,
Mongolian?
just like me.
Look,
Base, there you
go. When you were
So
when
are we
you
going
were
to get back to that
leaf,
hypothetical?
a young little leaflet, what color was Genghis Khan's hair?
If
Black,
he's like
right?
me, I would assume
So
black. If he's like
Black.
me, it's
Okay.
wait, so
blonde,
So
red.
so what hold on. So what
so wait,
percentage
the
of
critique
hold
of my
on. So what
hypothetical.
percentage
So the
of
critique of my
hold
hypothetical,
on.
by the way, is now going to be, oh, but we do have black hair. So in this case, so Joe, did you
So
eat
how much
breakfast this morning?
did
So Joe, did you eat breakfast
no.
this morning?
No, I didn't.
So
No.
so if you did eat breakfast this morning, would you feel any different?
If I did, yeah.
Okay, perfect. So you understand what my hypothetical is. So going back to the hypothetical now. So
Okay.
a mutation, we would know that a mutation occurs and how it would show in any not phonology, but it would show like sorry. How we would know that it would show up on the like daughter or son or whatever is that we have the
I
we
understand
have
the
the brown
story.
hair
Don't
gene, we have
worry.
the blonde hair gene, and the black hair gene does not resemble either of those genes, but
Okay.
instead a new gene.
Yeah. So
Which would just expand the Punnett square, but
according to genealogy, what percentage of today's population is can be tied back to Genghis Khan?
um I'll say like maybe 5-10%. I don't know.
Really? Oh, let's check that out.
I don't know. I don't know the exact like amount of people that could be tied back to
Well,
Genghis Khan. It could be a
I
third too.
do. Let's see. What percent of today's humans are a descendant of Genghis Khan?
It's 0.5.
Oh, you're right. Yeah,
It's
you're
0.
right. 5%. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Pretty big population from one man, right? So that's a lot of black hair in genes and recessive genes. And
Yeah.
if we all came from Africa, right? Like that's what it posits. Do you believe that human life began like in Africa or some centralized continent?
So I believe like one of the ancestors to the Homo sapien probably originated from Africa. Maybe the Homo sapien also originated from Africa as well.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I didn't evolve in Africa, but maybe Leaf did. I don't know. Well, but so what do you think? Yes or no? Is it did we all evolve out of Africa?
Yes.
Or?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So
Yeah,
when you're on
human
the equator,
ancestors have ties back to Africa originally. Yes.
Yeah. So when you're living on the equator, what features are you going to most likely have as a conditioning for like millions of years being in that temperate zone?
So maybe the increased access to like a direct sunlight, you could see like a higher amount of melanin pigmentation. Maybe due to the environment, you would also be able to. I know in certain environments, there's in mountainous environments actually sometimes there are people who are able to breathe who need less amount of oxygen to be able to run around, which makes them better for like running. Which is why you see
What
like
color
people
hair
like
would they
Jamaica,
have in a
Nepal.
sunny environment? No, but we didn't evolve in Jamaica.
Yeah. And I'm just giving you like examples of like, minor differences in,
No, that's fine. I'm just
gene
asking a line of
expression.
questioning. So if we
But
all
I'd probably
began
imagine that the predominant like hair color would probably be black.
black,
So,
right? Okay,
so it would
so we
absorb
all
the
have
most heat.
we all have ancestors with black hair.
Yeah.
Okay, so your
Probably at some
hypothetical
point.
sucks.
My head.
Yeah.
So you, holy, this is really where we're at. Your
Man,
hypothetical
this
is
is
a
bad.
hypothetical and
This is a
not
sad night for
100%
evolution,
consistent
everybody.
with reality. God damn
This
it,
is
you got
terrible.
me. You got me.
Terrible.
The
Oh,
hypothetical
man.
is not 100%
Damn.
consistent with reality and is
Yeah,
in
it
fact
doesn't
just
doesn't
an
align. It
analogy
doesn't
that
align.
describes
Oh,
mutations.
it's an analogy that doesn't
Oh,
align with the evolutionary worldview? No way.
wait, no, it does. What?
It does, but the evolutionary worldview
So
posits that we all have
what was the
ancestors with
point?
black
So what was
hair.
the point of my hypothetical? I'm so curious if you tracked that at all.
Your hypothetical was trying to prove something happens within evolution without
What was that
positing the
something?
realities of
What was that
evolution.
something? What was that something?
That we could have a gene variation that results in black hair, even though neither parents has black hair.
Yeah.
But you leave
Oh,
out
so you do
you leave out
understand
the
that.
so you leave
So
out
so
the
what was the point
possibility
there?
of recessive genes.
So what was the point there?
The point there was
That there's a possibility.
you couldn't delineate between a random mutation and recessive gene.
Oh, I told you the indicators for what a recessive gene would be versus a mutation.
In the black hair example, what was it?
Yes, so the black hair would resemble a gene that is neither the recessive gene nor the dominant gene.
So what's the what how would you tell it apart from a recessive gene versus a
By
mutation?
looking at the genetic sequences that make up the hair color genes.
And that will tell you whether or not it's random or recessive?
So that will tell you whether it is occurring due to a mutation or whether it is occurring due to the parents providing the genetic material.
How does it tell you that?
So once again, I just told you this earlier, but we can go over it again. So the mutation gene would not resemble the dominant gene, nor would it represent the recessive gene, but instead it would be a different genetic
know that?
sequence.
It would have a different genetic sequence.
So
But the
I just
offspring
told you how
their
to
own genetic
differentiate it.
sequence. But the
I just told you how to
offspring already has
differentiate it.
its own individual
Okay.
sequence.
I just told you how to differentiate it within this hypothetical. Can you repeat it back to me?
But yeah, you said you would look at that it wouldn't match up with supposedly the recessive gene or the parents' genes, right?
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I'm telling you how you
Oh,
know
okay.
that.
So you do understand
I'm
that.
asking-
I told you.
Yeah, I'm asking
You asked
how
me
you
how
know
I would be
that.
able to differentiate that. How would I
I'm
know this?
asking
You
you
just take a
how-
genetic sequence. You take a genomic
And-
sequence of both parents and the child, and you find that exact gene, and you observe.
You find what exact? Hold on.
So you take the genomic
find the
sequence.
gene-
So you take the genomic sequence of parent A and parent B and the child. You would find the hair color gene. You would see that the hair color genes are not resembling either the dominant or the recessive gene in this hypothetical. It would be a different sequence with
What's your
respect
proof
to
of
those
that?
two. What's the proof that you
What's the proof of
review the
that?
genetic sequence of that gene? You review the
No, but
DNA
where-
sequence. I
You
like,
re-
I don't
but
know how
how
to
do you
explain this any
determine-
better. How do I
you
determine?
that it's random versus a recessive gene if you don't have access to the recessive
So
genes?
you're now
before
you're
they
conflating
occur?
mutation with random. Oh, this is again. This is just so weird.
Oh my god! Wait,
This
mutations
is so
aren't
weird.
random. Mutations aren't random.
I just told you they are not truly random. I
Whoa,
already
what does that mean?
gave
They either
you
be-
what I meant by
they can't
random.
be-
So
that's
so
a
what I
contradic-
mean
that- that's-
so what I mean by random in this case just refers to
You're violating the law of
unpredictable events
identity.
or
That's
data sets
illogical.
lacking recognizable patterns. In this case, none of the data would correlate with anything else.
What's the law of identity?
That a thing is itself.
That a thing is itself.
Yes. And in terms
And
of
that cannot be
propositions,
another
that
thing?
P is logically equivalent to P, and it can't be anything else.
Like P can't be A, right?
P can't be A unless A is the same claim as P.
Okay, so do you remember what I asked you?
You asked me what the law of identity was, and I just told you
Yeah,
that P is P.
right. So either it's
P,
random
P
or
just
not
represents
random.
to me a proposition. That's it.
Right. So it's either got to be P or not P. It can't be both, right?
So that's not what the law of identity states.
it would. Bro,
The law of
you just
identity
said it
states
to me.
that P is P. What you're referring to is
P
a
is
different
P.
one.
Okay,
yeah.
great. So random can only mean random. Either something is random or not random.
Oh, I thought you were just asking me for a definition of random that I was using. So yeah.
Oh, we're going back to the subjective definitions.
And he's gonna crash out again. That's great.
Oh,
He's gonna crash out. He did it
goodness,
again.
here we
He,
go.
he found
So
a
we
way
got
to pivot off
three
of the topic of
subjective
evolution once
definitions
again.
again. Okay.
Let's
Great,
fucking go.
great,
Let's
great,
fucking
great,
go.
great. So
This is
you're violating the
incredible.
law of identity. You're violating the law of identity. Special
By
pleading again. Three
so by
times special
defining the
pleading.
word,
No, you didn't define it. You didn't. You're saying it's random and not random at the same time. You're like
Oh
randomness equals
no.
random and not random at the same time.
Oh, you thought I was contradicting myself. Holy shit.
That is a
I didn't know
contradiction.
I
It
didn't
can
know you
either
were
be
like
one
this.
or the
You
other.
might actually have Alzheimer's. Like you might
You just
actually have
said P and
Alzheimer's in
not
this
P,
debate.
right?
Holy shit.
So it's either random or not random. Which is it?
You completely forgot what I meant by random
Wow,
in this
dude,
case.
you're
Like
so
I said the
coping so
definition of
hard.
random 2
You're
minutes
crashing
ago, by
out
the
so
way.
hard. What's
I'm
the
not. I
definition?
promise you,
Okay,
the
it's
only
either
reason why
random or
you
it's
think
not
I'm
random.
crashing out
Okay, so
is
so
because
to
I'm laughing
clarify,
at you.
say you have a dice that has
Dude,
20
yeah, with
sides
your
on it. The 20
subjective
sides,
definitions.
each of the 20 sides is put into a random position. If you roll that dice, can you get a 38?
How many
And
does it say again?
It's a 20-sided die. If you roll it, can you get a 38?
no.
Nope.
If it were truly random, you could get a 38. But because it's only randomized in the numbers you can get, it is random, but it is not truly random.
But you can't predict the outcome. That's what random means.
That randomness in statistics just means that there's no recognizable pattern, that no data set
Yeah,
or that
random.
no
That's what it
data
is.
points in a data set correlate with each other.
You can't predict it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unpredictable.
Yeah. So then wait.
equals
So we
random.
so then we agree on what true randomness means, right?
Unpredictable.
Now, unpredictable, that can describe a chaotic system. Actually,
If
no,
something...
I'll look that back. Unpredictable would just no. Look. See, I'm being honest. A
You're
chaotic system
floundering
can
bad,
be
bad, dude.
it can be described by like a certain equation to some degree, but you would then end up having it. The reason why a chaotic system has like different outcomes is a result of the like initial conditions. So that's why I backed off of that, because a chaotic system can be predicted. You just need the initial conditions to predict the movement. But going back to like
Yeah, how about with the mutations that cause changes that lead to evolution? Yeah.
I mean, you'd have to prove that they were like truly random, which means that any
I'm asking
mutation,
you.
it would have to.
You're the one defending. You're the one
So-
defending evolution.
Well, he's
So I'm
answering
saying
you.
that randomness just refers to like a set of occurrences that has no ability to be predicted whatsoever. That it's truly random. What I'm saying
Okay.
is that because true randomness is a theoretical concept that does not have any backing, I cannot say that mutations are truly random.
So they're not random.
Yes, correct. And
Okay, so
my
mutations
usage
aren't
yes.
random. Okay. So what's the opposite of random?
It would probably be like planned. Let's say that.
Be what?
I would say
Planned?
planned.
Designed? Designed.
Either word could work in this case. It would be
Yeah.
up to you to prove that there's some
Like a floor plan for building a house, right?
It would be up to you to prove that there's some sort of design here with mutations.
Well, hold on. Well, the logical deduction here leads to that due to the answers to the questions I'm asking you.
I'm saying that there could be like some ability to correlate the data with mutations, that there could be some way to determine.
You don't know that.
It is up to you to prove whether it is either A, truly random,
You're
or
assuming
B,
that.
like completely planned. No, I'm just saying it could be the case.
I have to prove that your assumption is false?
No, I'm telling you that well, first off, you'd have to tell me whether
It's
like
your
true
assumption,
you'd
dude.
have to argue that true randomness does exist if you think that mutations are random.
Well, we're talking
If you're
about
using like random in like
definitions
the colloquial sense, then like maybe we could move forward there.
here. Okay, so you're bouncing all over the place. First you're saying it's random,
yeah,
it's not random,
I'm like
it's
trying
random,
to
it's
offer
not
you an olive
random.
branch after like beating you over the head with the
Yeah,
rhetorical belt.
you've been beating me so bad. Yeah.
I completely agree.
I'm stammering and stuttering and telling me you trust me, bro, and I'm making special pleading fallacies.
You know
but
what? That is like a very accurate
description. Right?
That is a very accurate description of the debate, Kung Fu Joe. We can just go back in to previous parts of the debate where you either diverged. B, failed to understand anything. C, I've been teaching you literally everything. D, you still haven't proved how my whale example deviated from the scientific method. And now again, we're on like whether mutations are random. I told you my usage of the word random. Either you can grant that or we can go into like a colloquial sense of randomness.
I just need to understand what it means if I'm going to use it.
So when I refer to random, I mean like true randomness, meaning that the outcomes of events are completely unpredictable.
Okay, so it's like an accident.
Basically, R squared equals 0 in statistics.
So it's just like an error, an accident.
It would just be complete. In this case, it would be white noise. The data set would create white noise.
Okay,
there's no pattern to the data at all. R squared would be 0. This is in statistics.
So
The best fit line would not exist in this case. That's what I mean by R squared equals 0.
So it's random.
If you want me to say random is random, then sure.
Yeah. So
but that's not useful.
It's accidental. Well, it's not. I agree that the way you're using.
I already told you my usage of random. Yeah. No outcome
unpredictable, right?
That the outcome of events cannot be predicted at all.
So
if you give if you give some equation in this case and some set of initial conditions, that it will never be able to predict the outcome.
I see.
In this case, it would be.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
What is the like? Do you believe we descended from apes?
Yeah. No, this is my opinion that we descended from I believe great apes. Exactly.
Great apes. Okay.
So like we can go up the ladder here. So we go from like hominids to African apes to great apes to apes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So is Michelle Obama a great ape?
Yeah. By the fact that she descends from great apes, the same fact that I descend from great apes.
Okay. Is Leith here a great ape?
Yes.
Okay.
All of us are great apes.
Yeah.
If you're in the category of Homo sapiens, then guess what? We're all great apes.
Got it. Okay.
Is this your like new tactic to like claim that what I'm saying is absurd? Is this sad?
No, it's not. It's not absurd at all. By your
like this, right?
Is Leith is an ape and Michelle Obama is an ape.
Yes, a great ape. Correct.
Yes, great ape. Great. I do agree with you that Michelle Obama is a great ape. She's got some broad shoulders.
Yeah. Under taxonomy, yes.
I'm glad we could agree there. That's our first point of agreement tonight.
Yeah. So you take so if you take taxonomy, wait. So if you take taxonomy to be true, then yeah. So you're just granting a branch of evolution. Then good. You're granting that taxonomy can be used to prove evolution, which is perfectly fine. That's another concession on your end. Yeah.
Are all black people apes?
In the same way that all white people are apes, all Asian people, Mexican people, Latinos, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All Homo sapiens.
All black people?
All Homo sapiens are great apes.
How about all black people?
All black people are Homo sapiens, therefore they're great apes.
So all black people are apes?
So based off of the hypothetical syllogism, so premise P, all black people are Homo sapiens. Premise 2 is going to be all Homo sapiens. So hold on. So premise 1, all black people are Homo sapiens. Premise 2, all Homo sapiens are great apes. Conclusion, all black people are great apes.
Take that.
So I want you to if you take any issue with that, I'd like for you to contest one of the claims here.
You know what? I think some would, but I'm not going to quibble with you. It's fine. I'm agnostic, right?
I think most people understand my usage of it when it relates to taxonomy. If you want to if you want to laugh because you're conflating the usage, that is perfectly fine.
Okay.
I can put it in writing too. This is.
Yeah. Oh, please write it down for all of us to see. Yeah. Put that into a syllogism. Put it up on the board. Leith, you want to make it
Actually,
maybe
you know
make
what?
it into a
Sure. 1 second.
poster
Yeah.
for your room. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
They
One
already
second.
Hey,
have
I got
that
another.
poster.
Yeah.
All right, I'll get out the notepad for this. Actually, sure.
I got another question.
So wait. You said you wanted me to put it on the notepad. I'm going to put it on the notepad for you. So 1
I
second
mean,
here.
you could do that while I ask you another question. Right?
No. I'm going to put it on the notepad
No,
for you real quick.
you can't
I'm so sorry.
multitask.
I can only do one thing at a time. I'm so
I
sorry. I'm
get
like
you.
really, really
I know.
stupid. So like, yeah, I'm just
You're a
going to
lower
put it
ape,
on the note.
right?
Huh?
Yeah. You're a lower ape.
No, I'm a great ape. As it relates to
Oh,
taxonomy.
I see.
So let me move this out of the way. All right, perfect. I've got that up. And then share screen. Where is it? All right, perfect. So now I've got it up for the Discord call. So now time to write my syllogism here. So premise 1,
Can't wait.
all Black people are Homo sapiens.
Yeah.
Oop, 1 second here. I'm going to bring it up to 1 line. That way it looks a little better there. Perfect. All right, cool. Fixing that on my screen too. So, hold on. I'm going to maintain the format here. So premise 2, conclusion here. Premise 2, all Homo sapiens are great apes. So
I
conclusion,
disagree, but
all Black people are great apes. So yeah, which premise do you disagree with?
oh, I'm agnostic. I'm just taking you at your
Wait. So
face
hold on.
value.
So you don't. So you don't disagree with any of the premises, then the conclusion must follow. So not only is this
I'm
syllogism valid, it is also sound. So you just conceded that all Black people are great apes. Congratulations.
I actually know a lot of people that would contend with P2, but I'm agnostic personally.
Oh, you're agnostic. Okay. So do
Yeah.
you want to contend with
Mhm.
P2?
No, I'm agnostic. I can't contend with
So
P2.
okay. So then you don't deny that it's true. Gotcha.
Well, I have no position. Yeah.
So you have no position that all Homo sapiens are great apes. You just don't know whether that's true or
Nope.
false.
Nope. I'm just
Aren't you
investigating your
create?
claim.
Aren't you a creationist?
Not in
If you
this
say
debate,
if you
nope.
say oh, not in this debate, so you did admit that you're a
Nope.
creationist earlier. So creationists do have a position on this. Can you tell me the position?
Yeah. Oh, from the creationist point of view,
Yeah,
I
from
guess
your
they
point
would
of view, because
say-
you're a creationist, absolutely.
Well, no, I'm not representing that in this.
So
For the
you're not
purposes of this
okay.
debate,
So you're not
I'm
a
taking
okay.
agnostic secular position. Yeah.
Agnostic secular position.
Yeah, I've been
Really?
making
That's where we're going
secular
with?
arguments all night. I've been making secular arguments.
You've been
all
making
night.
retarded arguments all night. That's good. But
They're all
anyways,
secular. Yeah.
so anyway, since you don't contest either premise 1 or
retarded means
premise
smart in my
since
my
you
view.
don't contest premise 1 or premise 2, then yeah, you also have no position.
Go ahead.
So yeah.
Yeah.
In conclusion,
Yeah.
all Black people are great apes. Absolutely.
I'll take your word for it.
Gotcha. All right. So guess what? So now that you've basically proven by that extension implicitly that taxonomy is true. So yeah, once again, evolution proven true.
I grant you nothing. I'm just trusting your word here.
So you don't. Okay, so then you don't grant this. So would you like to contest one of the premises?
No, I'm just.
No.
I'm
Okay,
just
so no, you don't
trusting
want
your
to.
word.
You don't want to contest the premises, but also
wait,
like
should I
you
not
don't
trust
you
you?
don't grant my argument. Got it. So when you don't
Depends,
grant my
it
argument, that
depends.
means you have a contention with one of the premises. So do you have a contention with one of the premises? Yes or no?
Well, it depends. Can I trust you?
So no, this is just your position. Do you
No?
contend with any of the premises?
Oh, wait. You told me not to trust you. earlier.
And he's not going to engage again.
Oh,
He's
man,
You're
dang.
you're
I'm
addicted to just
agnostic,
not
like I said.
engaging. You're addicted to not
I'll take your
engaging
word.
with any of the arguments.
Look,
So you okay?
I'm
So
just
if you
taking your
taking me
word
at
for
my
it.
word
What do
is
you say?
granting.
What do you mean?
You taking me at my word is granting. So you
Sure,
just
I'll
granted
grant
that
it to you.
taxonomy is true.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So
Yeah.
taxonomy is true. Good. All right. So I have now won the
That's what
debate
you mean,
again
yeah,
on
yeah.
this point. So taxonomy can in fact be used as evidence for evolution. Since taxonomy is true, yeah. Since you grant taxonomy is a form of evidence for evolution, there is in fact evidence for evolution.
Yeah.
There's also in fact
Mhm.
falsification criteria, because I already told you the
Yeah.
falsification criteria with respect to taxonomy.
Uh-huh.
I've given you all the falsification criteria with
Uh-huh.
respect to individual hypotheses, and now I've given
Uh-huh.
you I've given you criteria for falsifying the idea of mutations as
Yeah.
well.
And then you told me not to trust you, though.
I told you not to trust me on the individual like processes that create a mutation.
Yeah.
Yes.
That lead to the very thing that
Because
you're
because
using
I
in your
don't speak
argument.
about things that I'm not an expert in, by the way, or that I don't have
Well,
like any foreknowledge
every
on.
premise in your argument assumes the thing you can't explain.
Oh no, I can
The thing
explain
you told
these.
me not to trust you on.
Oh no, I can
No, you told
explain
me not
all.
to
I can
trust you on
explain
it.
both premises and the conclusion.
You couldn't explain how we evolved from great apes.
He's gonna dodge again. This is fine. So yeah, I
No,
can explain.
you
I can
told me not
explain
to
both
trust you
premise.
on how we
I can
become.
explain both premise one and premise two. I already explained to you the falsification criteria for mutation, which you asked
Sure.
for, by the way. So like all I can
just wanna
determine
know
from
under
this is
your
that you're not a.
worldview.
All I can determine from this is that you're not a good faith interlocutor because you are
No,
on one
I'm
hand granting my argument that all black people are great apes, which validates taxonomy, but also that
granting that you think that.
you hold some position that you hold some contention for my argument as well, which is, by the way, a contradiction,
No,
by
I'm
the way,
saying I'm not
a
sure.
performative
I'm
one
saying
at
I'm
that,
not
by the
sure.
way, for those of us that are counting fallacies, by the way.
No,
So
I'm
once again,
granting
like,
that
do you
you
hold? So do you have like any position regarding my argument here?
No, I'm agnostic. I'm granting you that you believe that.
So okay, so
I am
so you're
not sure
granting me that taxonomy can be used as evidence
that
for
you believe
evolution.
it.
Oh,
I
you're
believe that
granting
you
that
believe that.
granting
Yeah.
that I believe that this argument is both valid and sound.
I believe that you believe that. Yeah.
Okay, great. So do you have any contention with this argument right here?
E- well, no, it's my
No.
agnostic
Okay,
position
great.
that you
So
believe
guess what?
that you believe
You
that.
don't contend with the argument, so you don't contend the premises. This is a hypothetical
No, I'm just asking
syllogism.
you what you think.
Hypothetical syllogisms are valid. They're valid in inference rules. So guess
Mhm.
what? If both my premises are true, you don't contest either premise
That's a
here.
big if, right?
You don't contest either premise. So I don't know why you're like acting like you can
Well, I'm
be
not
like
granting
ignorant
them
of
either, though.
formal
I'm
logic,
not
by the way.
granting them either.
You're okay, you're not granting them either. So again, like I can
No.
clarify my position if you're agnostic.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. What are you
Can
unclear
try.
about? What are you unclear?
I'm unclear on how Homo sapiens are great apes.
So Homo sapiens are just like there's some class of there's some organized class of beings that fall under the category of great apes.
How do you know
So
that?
there's a broad category of great apes that branches out into several directions, and Homo sapiens are just a branch of that. And this can be demonstrated
know
by
that?
showing the genetic similarity to other great apes as well.
Yeah, but we share genetic similarity with everything, right? Like, isn't it logically consistent to say that you're related to a banana?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's some genetic material that we share with bananas. Think like 60%, which is way less than I believe us and
Okay.
other great apes. Say like the
Yeah.
not the orangutan, was the chimpanzee. I think we share like what, like 96% with the chimpanzee, but
Uh-huh.
60% with the banana.
Yeah. So are you a cannibal?
Am I a cannibal? What are you
Yeah.
using to define cannibal?
Like something that eats its own kind?
Are are you saying that? What do you mean by kinds in this case? Actually, I need
Well, you
clarification on
saying
that.
we descend from a banana and you eat bananas. Are you a cannibal?
No, I want clarification on kinds, actually, because that's crucial to whether I would be a cannibal in this case.
I gave it to you in my opening on what kinds are.
Yeah, can you remind me what kind is real quick?
Sure. Oh, you want to operate under my Christian worldview of kind?
I want you to give your definition of kind, and I will operate under that. Sure.
Gotcha. Real quick. Nice and accurate for
Because I have a feeling that my idea of a cannibal and your idea of a cannibal are going to be completely different. I would just, we'll see. We'll see, actually.
Orthodox Christian view of creation according to their kinds, where God directly forms distinct, stable categories of creatures, each with inherent potential for rich variation and adaptation within fixed boundaries, without one kind transforming into another. Now, I don't assume you adopt
So
that
so yeah, what's the
definition.
definition of kind in there? Can you like define kind here?
I just did it. What a kind is There are life forms that fit in distinct stable categories of creatures, each with inherent potential for rich variation and adaptation within fixed boundaries without one kind transforming into another.
So would humans and bananas be part of different kinds under your worldview?
No, because they cannot change into each other. Like there's no banana into a human.
No, I'm asking you if they're different kinds.
Yeah, that would be like plant kind
So
and then we'd be humans. Yeah.
cool. Okay, so would you take in this case, based off of your definition of kind, would you take cannibalism to mean eating something of your
Well,
own kind?
it's the Christian definition.
No, I'm
I'm
asking you for
agnostic. Yeah.
I'm asking you. Would you
Yeah.
take cannibalism to mean eating your own kind?
No, I don't adopt the evolutionary worldview of
Okay,
what
so
a
I'm at
species is,
okay. So
or
then, what do you take cannibalism to be?
that you're eating something you're related to.
So that how does that relate back to kinds?
Oh, because we're human. We're all humankind. So if I ate
Ah,
another
okay,
human,
okay.
yeah.
So
Mhm.
okay, so that whole like tangent about you like trying to avoid your own worldview, that was like completely crazy. So it
What do
is
you mean?
accurate to say that cannibalism would mean eating something of your own kind, right?
For me, yeah,
Okay,
a
perfect.
human.
So yeah,
Yeah,
so then based off of that worldview, me eating a banana would not be me eating my own kind.
that'd be cannibalism under your
That would
worldview.
that would
Yeah,
not be cannibalism under your worldview.
sure it would.
So
No, but you're not in my worldview.
yeah, great. So I'm gonna go back to my worldview now. So I just take
Where
cannibalism
it's
to mean
cannibalism.
so I take cannibalism to mean that I'm eating someone of my own species.
Species are not a scientific fact.
We've
Species
already
don't
demonstrated that it's like fuzzy at the
species
perimeter.
there's no
So
such thing as species. Yeah, exactly. So you're eating
there is
since
no
you have a
like
common
there is no
ancestor.
like demarcation line between one species and another. Correct.
Basically, you eating anything would kind of
But
be
we can tell the
cannibalism.
difference between like say a chimpanzee and a human, right? Like with pretty good certainty.
I can.
You can. I can also do that
I
too.
can.
I can tell that they're
Oh,
different species.
the
This is
species aren't objective.
this is the same critique as saying that like obscenity doesn't
Species
exist
aren't
because
objective. How are you referencing
so
something that doesn't actually
so
exist?
so this is like saying that like obscenity laws like don't exist and can never be actioned upon because there's like a fuzzy line
No,
between what can be considered obscene and what can be considered free
eh,
speech.
it's
It's like
arbitrary.
you realize that okay, so you realize that we can just kind of like based off of our best guess, we
Arbitrarily
can
do
kind of
things. Yeah.
arbitrarily. I
Yeah.
mean, kinds are pretty arbitrary too. You won't tell me
Oh,
the
art?
what are the
No, they're
boundaries of a
not.
kind? Yeah, what are oh
I
yeah,
just
what are the
told you. I
boundaries of a
defined it
kind?
for you twice.
What are the
I just
boundaries of a
defined it
kind? What
that they don't
differentiates
change into
one?
something else.
They don't change into something else. Well, what does that
Yeah,
mean?
human stays
Like they
human.
don't like vary at all?
Human doesn't become not human. Yeah.
Well, if there's like in a million years or a few million years, some like descendant of human that could be considered like something else, yeah, of course it'll still be human. Human
That
evolution doesn't
sounds like
posit
science
that like
fiction.
humans would turn into dogs at some point. Like if you
Uh,
like we can go back to like the whale example. Like whales
actually,
don't just
hold on, actually,
under
you're
like
incorrect
under
there.
evolution, whales don't turn into fish. So like
You're
I don't know like
incorrect.
where the
Could
I
you
don't know where our like demarcation point between our views is then. I don't know what the symmetry breaker is. Can you tell me?
that I don't believe in evolution. I don't believe in common ancestry.
But yeah, but we both share the view that whales don't turn into fish. And I explained it through evolution. You've
But
explained it through creation, presumably.
yeah. So what's the
Yeah. So like,
symmetry breaker?
what's the
The
symmetry
symmetry
breaker?
breaker is I don't believe that whales came from something not a whale.
Yeah. Where do you think whales came from?
That- I don't know. That's for you to tell me.
Ah, okay. So you don't have any alternative hypotheses. Cool. So yeah.
Oh,
So
I could use. I
so
mean,
like
the Christians say that
what kind
God
of
created it
wait?
that
So
way.
actually, I have a better question.
How would they be wrong?
Where would whales fall under with kinds? Actually,
Would what?
where would whales fall under with respect to kinds?
A sea creature kind?
Sea creature kind, but they behave
Yeah.
entirely differently from fish.
They still live in the sea.
they still live in the sea. That's like the only like. So like shrimp also live in the sea, and those are like vastly different from fish. Corals
Yeah.
also live in the sea.
Yep.
There are like a sea kelp live in the sea. So like now we have like plant kind and sea life kind of like coming together. Like what's like
Yeah.
how do you bring all that together? I'm so curious. How does that come under
I told
kind?
you, sea creature.
That's like super vague. So like what differentiates like between
Yeah.
like a sea creature and like a not sea creature?
A land creature would not be a sea creature.
So yeah, so there are turtles that are both they both live in the water and they also live on land partially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be like a bi-environmental creature.
So like a bi-environmental kind. Yeah, so like this is just like super weird. So yeah, we have a creature that could be in like both the land dwelling kind and in some type of land dwelling kind and a sea dwelling kind.
Yeah. Well, I could go swim in the ocean right now.
So yeah, it just seems to be the case that there's no like a strict demarcation point then. So yeah, it kind of just you're just kind of
I
arbitrarily
could
picking
swim in
positions
the
here.
ocean, but I don't live in the ocean, right?
Yeah, but turtles don't strictly live in the ocean either. We could go to
Yeah,
a
they
different
travel
animal
in the
too.
ocean.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
don't
they use
strictly,
the
but they
ocean
don't
for
strictly
travel.
live in the ocean.
No, they travel with the ocean.
Yeah, just like a bird can travel with the ocean. Just
With flight.
we could also go with like some more amphibious creatures like a
Birds
beaver.
travel through the air, right? Yeah.
Birds travel through the air, yes, but some of them also go into the water to get their food. Pelicans being a big example.
Yep.
Cool. So we still haven't figured out like what the difference between like a turtle kind and what a fish sea life kind is at this point.
No, there's kinds and then there's mosaics, which are just their own thing.
Yeah, like what's how do you categorize all that?
The mosaic,
Yeah.
like something that's its own kind.
Oh, so
Like a
turtles are their own kind
platypus.
now? Is that where we're going with?
Oh, I was going to use like a platypus.
Oh, so platypus is its own kind?
It's like a mosaic, yeah.
So how many kinds are there actually?
There's a lot.
There's a lot?
There's a few
Okay,
different
cool.
there's a few different categories of
There's
kinds, yeah.
There's a few different categories of kinds. Yeah,
Wait,
do you
hold on.
have so how do you
Are we done with evolution now? Are we done with evolution?
I'm just trying to figure out what your worldview is
Are
at
we
this
done with
point.
evolution?
I've
'Cause that was
described
the
I've already
prompt, right?
described like taxonomy for you. It's
I've
hierarchical.
been answering
There's like
your
a structure to
questions, but
that.
we've
You
trailed
haven't
off
given me
we need
you
to
haven't
get
given me
redirected
like a
back to the
structure.
prompt.
You haven't
You've
given
been
me a structure
complaining
to
that we weren't on the prompt, so now we're off the prompt.
Yeah, okay,
And
sure.
you
Yeah.
complained about it a
So
lot. So
I
I
feel
did answer your questions, and you
I
can't say I
thought
didn't.
we were done with the
So
evolution
now
debate
let's go
because
back to
I
the
felt
prompt. How
pretty
about that?
confident about everything. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
sure.
gonna
Oh,
say
do you
we've
Do you have
been
any
doing
other
this for about
Yeah,
3
let's
hours.
wrap.
Do you have
So
any other contentions with what I said?
Well, I
let's
want to
wrap
get
it
the
up.
closing statements on this one.
Yeah.
So in this case, I'm gonna let Joe go, and then I'm gonna let Bones go.
All right, perfect.
So Joe,
Yes.
go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, this was disappointing. I thought I would get a higher. I'm used to getting
All
a
right.
higher level of engagement where the evolutionary proponent actually agrees with the definitions of words that the evolution in the way that the evolutionary theory agrees to use them. Not once have ever one of my previous opponents ever made a special pleading fallacy saying that this word means what I think it is, right? So we had a special pleading fallacy for definitions of words. We had a special pleading fallacy for how mutations actually mechanically happen. I asked him how they happened. He said they just happened. He wanted me. He said that we pride ourselves on science, right, where we can investigate the process of how things happen. But the thing that is the cause of all evolution, I can't tell you how it happens.
He's so cooked.
But
He's
trust
so
me,
cooked.
bro, it does. And therefore, my defense of evolution is great. It's really top tier shit here. I mean, this has got to be the worst defense of evolution ever. On top of him telling me I can't trust him. On top of him telling
This is
me
like this is
that,
cope. Holy shit.
What else? What
All
other
right.
contradiction did he do? He violated the law of identity when we tried to go for definitions of random, right? He's like, "Oh, it's random is random and it's not random." I'm sorry, that's a violation of one law of
Holy
logic.
shit, this guy like
So I
he's
mean, I
actually
don't know. He stuttered and
fumbling.
stammered all over the place. He caught himself and had to like change positions on randomness. First he said not random, then he said random. He's been all over the place tonight.
All
So I
right.
mean, it was great getting to dog walk him and body him around and get him to tell you, everybody at home, that black people are apes.
Thank you for that, Joe. And Bones, your closing statement.
So my debate opponent not only admitted that he was a creationist in the beginning, but he actually knows zero, fuck all about evolution. So I provided him the falsification criteria for evolution, as he stated in Discord and as he asked for in the debate tonight. He had no ability to contest the falsification criteria of evolution in general. I moved on to the scientific method, and I provided an example regarding whales. He had no other contentions besides, oh, this is an internal critique, but also I'm going to question your usage of words. He doesn't know what internal critique means. He doesn't understand logic. He also said that hypothetical syllogisms aren't valid at some point, which is really strange because he apparently abides by logic. He lost to Spike the pair of scissors here in terms of the ontological primary being. Going back to evolution, he had no actual contest with my statements regarding whales and how they evolve. All he could produce was that I don't have a full, complete understanding of mutation, which is a like terrible ask for anyone who is debating this in general. No one asks for like the complete knowledge of a certain topic, only just a sufficient amount of knowledge to get through the debate. So he's coping on that. We talked about cancer cells. He had no explanation for that. I wanted to get into endogenous retroviruses as another way to prove that humans are descendant of great apes. We never got to that, but I can go into that real quick. There's at some point retroviruses that occurred that went into human, or sorry, not human, into like a just common ancestor sequence, and we find that in like chimpanzees and gorillas, et cetera, that we share some X amount of endogenous retrovirus DNA, and that carries all the way over to humans, and that also is a way to prove that we have genetic similarity to them. Just like we can also sequence genomes and find that we're similar to chimpanzees, similar to gorillas, et cetera, et cetera. He also granted, based off of this syllogism, oh, hold on, there we go. This syllogism right here, that taxonomy can
Let's
be
bring
used
it
as
back.
evidence.
Yeah.
So I'm so sorry. This is my conclusion, sir. Are you interrupting me in my conclusion?
I'm sorry. I was so
You
funny.
good?
Sorry.
So anyways, so by this syllogism right here, he granted taxonomy, which is evidence of evolution. So he's basically granted evolution and has spent the entire debate either meta debating or getting off topic or just trying every single possibility to never just engage with anything I ask for. And it just shows that he's both a dishonest debater. He got completely fucked on every single topic, including the meta, including the rhetoric, including, I don't think he even knows where he is geographically at this point without custody is. And we've also proven that Kung Fu Joe has Alzheimer's.
Thank you for that. So we're going to get a quick Q&A. So if anyone has questions, put them in the chat. So the number one question today, Joe, do you know Kung Fu?
I learned a form of kung fu when I was a kid, and as I got older, I realized that that just centralized fighting system is not great, not the greatest. So I subscribe more to like Bruce Lee's theory of fighting. Kung Fu, all Kung Fu means is a learned or earned skill. That's the true definition.
And then from the chat, is Kung Fu of the same kind?
Kung Fu is more of a Western definition of Chinese martial arts.
So the next question, is there more evidence for evolution or creationism?
Evolution, obviously. I've provided several evidences. I've provided even evidence in my conclusion as well. Yeah, no, none of which Kung Fu Joe engaged with tonight, minus the endogenous retroviruses that was at towards the end.
He couldn't explain how the random mutations happen. He just said, "Trust me, bro. I know they happen." But yeah, creationism does have logical evidence.
So, if I may have another word real quick, you've evidence in this case, it's Bayesian evidence. In this case, it would just be like some piece of information that would increase the like correspondence to one certain proposition. In this case, you provided none. In fact, you've even said that
That wasn't the debate.
there's no way. You've even said that there's no way to determine whether creationism is true. So there's no way to
Not
gather
by the
evidence.
scientific
You haven't even
view.
provided any logical like proofs for creationism either.
You
So
couldn't
like,
prove that evolution was true through the scientific method
yeah,
because you don't know how
you didn't contest
you
you
don't
didn't
know
contest
how
any.
mutations happen. You just said they
So
happen,
which
bro. They just
so
happen,
which
bro.
part so which part of the scientific method do you think that the whale and the whale example did not go over?
The part where you say that random mutations just
So
happen.
which part? So which part is that?
The part where you said that
So
the random mutation part that
so
changes
which so is it in the observation? Is it in the question, the research, the hypothesis, the experiment, the
we got
testing, the
to
discussion, the results, the summary? What are we talking about here?
I'll tell you where you got tripped up. Let's see. We got to
So this would be in the experiment
the
portion, by the way.
hypothesis. Yeah, no, we got to the hypothesis, and that's where you got stuck.
So where do you think mutations would come into this? Mutations would be demonstrated in the it would be the experiment and then results in this case.
What experiment could you run that passes millions of years and changes?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So we would so with regards to DNA, we would be able to find like close ancestors to whales if the DNA
That doesn't
existed.
demonstrate that one thing happened. That just
So
showed
yeah, so wait,
similarity.
okay,
That just
perfect.
shows
So
similarity. That doesn't show how one thing
so do you
changed
know
from
how
to another.
do you know how we can determine whether like two people are the parents of a child?
We have access to the parents. That's
Do
the
you, so
difference.
okay, great. So do you know like how 23andMe works?
I'm not sure. It's very it's limited.
Ah, okay, gotcha. So basically, how
Yeah.
23andMe works for the audience is that it takes basically the genetic sequence of to both parents and people prior, and it matches them to potential ancestors going back. And it does this by determining the genetic similarity between the parent and the daughter in this case. This is also done for animals that are currently extant or recently extinct, where we have access to DNA material. With respect to the whale analogy, by the way, or not analogy, example here, we don't have DNA evidence of, say, the what's the word, the Pachycetus, but we do have DNA evidence of the Ambulocetus, and we can compare those.
All right. So you just insert the Pachycetus and say, "Trust me, bro."
So the Pachycetus is more so of it's the fossil record basically. It shows similar structures to the Ambulocetus, and the Ambulocetus
We only have 1%.
I'm so sorry. Who
We
was
only have
talking?
the fossils.
The Ambulocetus to
No,
the
you
whale.
interrupt me plenty.
So we go from the whale, which is more aquatic, to the Ambulocetus, which is kind of more of a mix of the two, to the Pachycetus, which is more land dwelling. So we see that in these change in structures from feet to arms, fingers to flippers.
Out of all the life forms that have ever lived on Earth, what percentage of fossils do we have access to?
I don't know if we have a good answer to that.
There is an answer.
Yeah, what's the percentage? I'm curious.
1.
1%? Okay, so like 99% of the fossils have yet to be discovered. I feel like that's like a damning thing on your worldview, because that just means that there's a large potential for even more evidence of evolution.
Your assertion. That's an assertion. You're
well, yeah, because existing fossil evidence has proven evolution time and time again. So I don't know why you think like more fossil records would help you.
1%. Hold on,
I don't know why more fossil records are going to help you, unless you think that we're going to find the Precambrian. If you think we're going to find the Precambrian rabbit anytime soon, I invite you to go do that.
Yeah, and that will true. That's when evolution will be true, right?
Evolution will be falsified if we find a Precambrian rabbit.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Well, yeah, because it would just be like a rabbit.
So if it doesn't exist, that means it's unfalsifiable.
No, it would be evidence against evolution. I already told.
No, I'm saying if it doesn't exist in reality, that
Oh,
means it's an
not existing in
unfalsifiable
reality
claim.
just makes evolution true. Like, yeah.
What? That doesn't follow.
So if we,
Hold on.
you admitting that
You're
we
not
don't
engaging
find
with my
pre-Cambrian rabbits just shows that evolution is true and that we can use taxonomy to determine the
Hold on.
common ancestors of extant creatures.
We only have access to. Do you know what access means?
Yes, absolutely.
We only have access to 1% of the fossils of 1% of all life forms who have ever lived and died on Earth.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so how's that evidence for creationism? I'm curious.
You don't have I'm not arguing for creationism.
I mean,
I'm doing an internal
you've been
critique on
pretending that you're
evolution.
not arguing for it this entire time, but
I'm not.
you slipped up pretty early on.
I'm doing an agnostic internal critique.
So you know what? So how does that
secular arguments? And you've done terribly. You've gotten bodied so hard.
Under your worldview, you think I did terribly, but like I completely steamrolled you on this. So, anyways,
Sure,
like why would us only being able to access one? So why would us only being able to access 1% of the fossils? So why would us being able to access 1% of the fossils be evidence against evolution?
Any more, Leith? Are there?
He's not going to answer this, by the way, because he's again once again caught in another thing that he cannot explain.
Cope. Yeah.
So okay, if it is cope, if it is cope, then give me the answer.
Right?
So wait, if it is cope, then give me the. So if it is cope, then give me the answer. So if we can only access 1% of the fossil record, how is that evidence against evolution? Can you provide that?
You don't have what you need to make the claim.
No, he's not going to do it.
You're claiming.
He's not going to do it.
That's my answer.
He says I'm coping, but instead he has no response. He has no response.
I just responded, dude. So bad faith.
So you haven't demonstrated that that's evidence against evolution. All that says is that the evidence that we do have seems to indicate that evolution is true.
I can't prove a negative, dude. You can't prove a negative.
You can prove a certain claim to be false if it's the negation of. Yeah. So if you take so absolutely. So whales evolved from land-living mammals. The negation of that would be whales did not evolve from land-dwelling mammals. So yeah, no, you can prove a negation by just proving that whales did not evolve from land-dwelling mammals, which you couldn't do, by the way. Which you couldn't do, by the way. And here's how you prove it. You just prove
access.
Oh yeah. So here's how you prove the negative, by the way. So you can just so whales did not evolve from land-dwelling mammals. That's the negative right there. You prove that by finding out if whales evolved from, or if whales came from anything other than land-dwelling mammals.
And you got cooked this hard is so bad for you.
I had to talk a lot because I'd explained pretty much everything to you. Of course I'm going to talk more because you know absolutely nothing. Yeah.
You had to filibuster and trip over your words a lot.
So filibustering would imply that I'm like going off the topic.
A terrible defense of your worldview.
So once again, going back to this, you said that you can't prove a negative. I gave you
some more. So Jesus, move them along. So Leith. What's the next question?
Whereas I'm like stuttering if every few words or so, you're completely
dude, you're done.
You've completely face planted into every single argument that I've given you. So once again, whales. Here's the negative right here. Here's the negative. Whales did not evolve from land-dwelling mammals. How you prove that is by finding that whales came from anything other than a land-dwelling mammal. So the fact that you can't engage with that shows that unicorn? The fact that you cannot engage with that shows that you're just retarded.
I believe a unicorn existed. How am I wrong?
So do you have any evidence for it?
We're going to find it.
Oh, we're going to find it. So you don't have any evidence that it currently exists.
Neither do you for your worldview.
What do you think I don't have evidence of?
You don't have evidence to the other 99% of life forms that lived on Earth.
So having gaps in knowledge doesn't mean that we have no knowledge. So once again, this is like saying that if we can't know every. So by the way, this is just saying that if we can't know everything for certain, then we know nothing. Like this is just again like a complete reductio of his worldview.
Unicorn exists. Yeah.
So yeah, this is just a reductio on your worldview. If we can't know everything, so if we can't know everything for certain, then we know nothing. That is the reductio of your worldview. So yeah, like again. So do we know the exact width of a hair? Do we?
You accept that a unicorn exists?
Do we
for
know?
your
So
worldview?
you're gonna dodge this. So do we
You
know
accept
the
that a
exact?
world?
So
I just
do
want to get
we
a
know?
concession here.
So do we
You
know
just
the
I
exact
want to get a
width?
concession
So
based
do
on
we
your
know?
worldview.
Do we know the exact width of a hair?
Based
Yes or
on your
no?
worldview. I
So
still haven't had
you're
my
not going to answer. So
question.
once again, you're not
You
answering
didn't
this
answer.
because
I asked my question first. I'm sorry.
so once
I
again,
asked you my
he's not
question
going to
first.
answer this because once again, it just shows that his worldview is
Answer my
completely
question.
absurd.
I'll answer
So
yours.
can we
I
know
asked
the
you first.
exact width of a
I
piece of
asked you
hair?
first.
Can we know the exact width of a piece of hair?
I asked you my question first. I'll answer your
Can we
question.
know the exact width of a
I'll
piece of
answer your
hair?
question after you answer mine.
Can we know the exact width of a
I'll
piece
answer
of
your
hair?
question after you answer mine.
Sure. What's your question? Go for it again.
Okay, so fuck, I lost my train of thought.
Yeah, I know. You're
It'll come back
completely
to me.
so you're
No,
completely
no.
concussed.
So
I can reproduce the question for you. So your question was if your question the question was you claim that unicorns exist. Can you prove that to be false?
unicorn. Yeah. Well, this is the how am I wrong?
So then
is
my
what I'm
answer to
asking
you is that you cannot prove them to be true because you have
If
no
I
evidence of them.
say
If you have
no
zero evidence
that
of
it
them,
doesn't
then
exist.
I can dismiss it without any evidence. by
But
the
you
way.
have zero evidence that it doesn't exist.
I can dismiss the claim that it does exist based off of zero evidence that you've provided me.
And I could
And
a
claim made
great.
without
So now
a claim made without
now
evidence
I
can be
can
dismissed without
now
evidence.
I
You
could
realize that, right?
dismiss. Now I could dismiss that you don't have access to the other 99% of species that have ever lived on Earth. Great.
Yeah,
Glad
but
we
I
agree
don't.
there.
I don't claim that the 99% of species that exists outside of us is like categorized or anything. I don't have that claim. I make claims off of things we do know. So
you don't have access to.
So
the
I
thing
make
you
claims off
need
of things
to
that we
prove
do
your
have
worldview.
access to information on. I don't make claims on something we don't have information on. That's why, again, like I went on the whole mutation thing. I told you I don't know every single step that occurs in the mutation of a gene. That doesn't mean that therefore I don't know anything. So once again, can we know the exact width of a of hair? Of a single strand of hair.
I already answered this earlier, and
so
I said
can you answer
remember.
it again for the audience, please?
Yeah, no, we don't always know the exact.
So under your worldview, because
yeah.
we don't have the exact precise measurement of a single strand of hair, does that mean we can understand the width of the hair or no?
We can measure it.
So we can measure it, but do you understand that every measurement
has hair? Yeah.
Yeah. So do you understand that each measurement has some level of uncertainty to it?
Maybe.
Maybe. Can you provide me any measurement that is exact?
Depends on the accuracy of the method you're using.
So can you provide any measurement that is exact?
Only the ones we arbitrarily make up.
So no, you can't provide any exact measurements. That was an answer right there.
Again,
you don't understand. So I understand why this question is very hard to understand because you don't understand statistics. You don't understand how to perform experiments. You don't understand how to do anything. So this just shows that you not only are like completely arrogant, but you're also retarded and
language
arrogant.
was subjective. You said language is subjective. So
yeah,
how am I wrong?
we can go over that again, but I'm super duper not interested in dunking on you on that again. So okay,
dunking on me with
absolutely. So
language?
can you provide to me an objective language, please? Nope, he's done once again. Can't do it. So, anyways, let's move on to the next question.
I never said there was.
Let's move on to the next question. I'm done.
Yeah. No, you don't have.
So you've been stunlocked again. So let's move on. For the sake of the audience, you probably paid for this.
Can we see Spike and will Spike run for office in 2028?
So Spike is sure. You know what? Spike will run for office in 2028 if he decides to, of course. But since Spike is all knowing and all perfect, I can only hope that he will. But maybe his plans are much greater than we all know.
And Spike, we trust. Viva la Spike.
Hell yeah.
All right. That comes to the end of the questions. So, audience has come away with what they've come away with. And I think we have taken this to its logical conclusion.
Leith, thank you for hosting and being the moderator today. Bones, I know it wasn't always cordial the whole time, but I respect you for coming up and defending your worldview, or attempting to defend your worldview.
I respect the art of blood sports. Okay, I am more than happy to wall in the mug with any pig that gets in there with me. Or in this
Oink,
case, any
oink.
great ape that gets in the ring with me.
Oh, that's for you, Leaf. I'm the
It's not
pig.
even
You're the ape,
casual
right?
anymore. It's not even casual anymore.
Hey, that's him talking. It wasn't me, bro. Calm down.
I
All
mean,
right,
it
guys.
applies to
Hey,
you too. So, I mean, I treat everyone
no,
equally.
fuck
So,
no.
every human is a great ape.
I'm a great
Okay.
white ape. How about that? Yeah.
Um, I mean, based off of the amount of like melanin, sure. Like we can make that distinction. Just depends on
Okay,
like what.
guys. All right,
Just
guys.
depends on
Well,
what you
I
mean.
had fun.
So on that, thank you
Thank
for
you
coming
both
through,
for your
Bones. I
time.
appreciate your time. And Joe,
Yep.
thank you again. I believe the people were
Sayonara.
entertained. So a good Friday was had by all. And I'm going to shoot you a friend request, Bones.
Absolutely. I've
It's-
seen your other discords. Just don't think we've ever interacted.
Yeah, at least
Yeah.
the man, bro. You'll see him more, right? When he comes back to Wix, maybe. Maybe.
Yeah, I expect to be coming back soon. Just
Ah,
not
perfect.
yet. But I will be back.
He's a
I
little
missed the bus.
he's a little hesitant for a certain reason, but he'll
I
come
got a
back.
lot of reasons because that place is a time sink. Every time you look away, there's some jacked up conversation going on. It's like I need to focus on things right now.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Have you ever
I mean,
jumped
yeah,
into
this conversation being an example lasting like 3 hours.
Yeah. Have you ever jumped Bones into like the random like the group chats in there just to like be a fly on the wall and just see like the type of things they fight about?
I've actually been in one of those. There is an ANCAP like Twitter group that I've made my way into,
Oh,
and
I
it
meant
is
just for Wix group,
just for Wix.
where we met. Yeah.
No,
Yeah, they have
I don't know
That's a
massive
fun
actually.
time.
VCs in there.
Yeah, massive. Yeah.
Like sometimes I'll just hop into the VCs and listen in, but not in there all that frequently.
Yeah. It's a fun time sometimes. Sometimes it's a fucking train wreck though, especially if Owlish is in there. All
I don't know.
right.
I've
But
had my fun in
hey,
there for sure.
Oh,
yeah,
they want to know
we'll
what office
turn
Spike
around.
will be running for.
Yeah, what ticket is he running on?
Oh, there was more questions in the YouTube. 1 second. So
Oh shit, yeah,
Oh
absolutely.
man, speed
they,
run him. I'm
they
hungry.
want to know, could unicorns exist?
Yeah,
Thanks
there.
for
It could be the case that they could exist. Sure. It would just
W unicorns.
yeah, it just depends on how you define unicorns. In this case, I would define them to be like maybe some type of like horse-like mammal that has a like some horn similar to like maybe a rhino's, maybe, or maybe it's evolved in some different way where it uses like a different, or rather, they grow a different material. But
Then why were you hating on unicorns earlier when I wanted a unicorn?
because they currently don't exist,
Fuck.
as
Why you
defined
gotta
by
tell me
anyone,
that?
like in reality.
You gonna tell me
There's a
Santa doesn't
hilarious
exist
meme for
next?
this.
No, Santa does in fact exist.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Thanks for not taking
And then
everything from me.
a question directly from Owlish to Joe. Do you think
Oh
you won
fuck!
this?
Speak of the devil. What? What was the question?
Do you think you won this?
Do I think I won this? I'm gonna give a Bones answer. Yes, yes, and no.
So contradiction, got it. That about sums up
Most
your
excellent.
positions.
All right. All right. I guess
Borrowed
we're
it
going to
from
go
you. I
ahead
learned
and
from
end
the
it
best.
there.
All right. Peace out, guys.
Right. So ending the call.